It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? You should.
Thanks for joining us tonight for WDRB News at 10 o'clock. I'm Joel Skipper. As we all know, severe weather is slowly starting to move through our area. We're joined right now by meteorologist Matthew Wine. Just a few seconds ago, you were telling me there is some good news. What is there good news about this?
We'll always take the positive news, right? One of the things that we've noticed trending around here is there are still warnings out to our west, but a lot less of them. And a lot of them have gone from tornado warnings now down to severe thunderstorm warnings. There's a handful out here at this point. A lot just expired at 10 o'clock. More will be added on here soon. But what we're focused on right now are the yellow counties. All of our region is underneath a tornado watch until 3 a.m. Do I think the storms are out of here before 3 a.m.? Absolutely I do. Probably for all of us. Once these storms get to you, you give it about 30 minutes. When that leading edge gets right up to your house, and within 30 minutes, your severe weather threat goes to zero. So again, the entire region is underneath a tornado watch. There are still some severe thunderstorm warnings along this line, but significantly less. And one of the reasons for that is that we've got this band of rain that's moving out ahead of the main line that eats some of the energy. When you don't have as much energy, your storms can't be as strong. So some of the winds have come down with the main line of storms on the western side here, closer to Evansville. That tornado threat comes down when you don't have as much energy to work with. Let's go over west again, where you can see the main line moving directly through Evansville. Western Kentucky has crossed over the Illinois-Indiana border. In fact, we're going to go further south. One of the only storms that's had any sort of supercellular look to it. Some folks, when we were streaming earlier this evening, were asking, were supercells possible? We said it's really going to be a line of storms. We call this kind of a tail end Charlie. It's the southernmost storm, has a little bit more inflow into it, but even that one really not rotating. The showers that have moved into our western counties, so past Owensboro, now moving into Breckenridge, Hardinsburg, closer to Irvington, up near New Amsterdam, Oil, English, Eckerty, Newton, Stewart. All of these are regular showers, no rotation within them, and the winds aren't too gusty. Definitely not severe criteria. You go up further north, Indian Creek to Popcorn, getting some heavier rain there. Yes, we are still underneath an enhanced risk for severe weather for most of the area. Parts of our eastern counties, a slight risk. There have been some changes to tornado expectations and even damaging wind gust expectations. I'll explain those coming up here. Joel.
Matthew's here right now with a check of our forecast and our top story tonight. How is that radar looking? Even in the last couple minutes, things have again changed.
Trended a little bit better, trended a little bit better. We're not in the clear yet. I know folks at home are like, oh, you know, I'm just going to head right to bed. Hey, let's just hang around to the end of the newscast. Keep watching radar trends with us here. In fact, even outside the storms today, we have had some crazy weather. The winds were whipping out there. Check this out. Cherokee Park. Jen K sending this one in. That's a massive tree with no leaves on it. We often talk about how leaves increase the surface area of a tree that the winds can blow into and knock them over easier. We had dry ground and a tree without leaves on it, and these winds were still moving fast enough that they caught that thing and just threw it over like a little Lincoln log. You can see the huge root ball associated with that. That tree's been here, I mean, what, like 75 plus years easily? And the winds today, outside of storms, took it down. Let's go up to Edwardsville. They lost a tree up there today, snapped that one in half and just threw it over. Fortunately, it did miss the house. I saw another picture of it just in the side yard there. So Linda Hittner sending that one in. That's why we've had wind alerts in play all day long. Started earlier this morning, continues until 8 a.m. tomorrow. We've got wind advisories in effect now. But earlier today, 4 of our counties, Lawrence, Jackson, Jennings, and even Carroll County in Kentucky, were included in high wind warnings for gusts potentially 60 plus. The highest that I've seen so far have been over 50 miles per hour in our area today. We've still got gusts widespread of 15 to like 35 at times. So they've come down some as storms are moving in, but they're not entirely done just yet. We're looking west with all of our cameras here as we watch these storms roll through. Haven't seen any flashes of lightning on camera just yet in Seymour. 70 degrees, winds south 22 miles per hour. Gordon, 71, winds south at 17. Bardstown, similar situation, sitting at 69, winds out of the south, a little bit tamer there at 7. We've talked about a few limiting factors with storms over the past few days. One of them being that we don't have a ton of energy. We've lost the daytime heating and the sunshine. We have, well, never really brought in much energy in the first place ahead of these storms. So that's a limiting factor. But also dew points are so low. Yesterday they were in the 20s. Now they're sitting in the low to mid 50s. But you usually need 60 plus in order to get severe, at least tornadoes, to occur. It's not always the case, but it's more likely when you're above 60 with the dew points. If we're not going to get there, our tornado threat continues to stay low. Although there is a tornado watch until 3 a.m. as this line of storms moves in. Again, there is an initial band eating up whatever energy was already there ahead of this main line, but they're starting to merge. So as they move into our western counties, they'll get together, they'll merge, it'll become one main line. When that line gets to you within 30 minutes, your severe weather threat is done. I do want to point out one severe thunderstorm warning on either side of 64 west of our area, though, does have a considerable tag for damaging wind gusts of 70 miles per hour tornado possible, not guaranteed. Paola, you're getting really heavy rain, but you see this warning just to your west. You're talking hail under an inch, 60 mile per hour gusts. You go further north, again, these winds around 60 miles per hour. So the most likely case here is now 60 mile to 65 mile per hour winds in our western counties, maybe up to 70. The further east you go, the less that those winds or the lower those wind speeds are going to be, and the lower that tornado threat becomes. In fact, the Storm Prediction Center yesterday had all of our area in the brown, the 5% risk, now has brought down our eastern counties to only a 2% risk. We'll take positive changes around here. Tomorrow, we've got a 70% chance for breezy snow bursts around here. We're talking about accumulating snow on Monday, and if we get some more on Wednesday as well, coming up. Joel.
Some severe weather has entered our area. We're going to send it over to our weather team at the Weather Center. All three, Rick, Mark, Matthew, watching it all, and going to have much more updates coming your way.
We had hoped to give you guys a little bit more time there, unfortunately.
Almost made it.
Coach, it's not my fault here. We got a tornado warning in effect for the area here, so we kind of knew that this was possible. We had hoped that we would be able to get the full sports segment in, but this is a longer fuse warning that has now been issued.
Kind of unusual for a QLCS type of warning.
Yeah, it's just that this thing, I think we would agree, has shown persistent rotation for some time, so the Weather Service decided it is time to issue that warning. So a couple things I will note here. Let's go over to graphics here. We will be streaming this as well for those that are online. We'll be on Facebook, we'll be on our YouTube channel, WDRB Plus, WDRB.com. And the reason I mention all of this is because if you happen to lose power here this evening, there are other ways that you're going to be able to get this coverage. I will let our sports team know that this is going to probably be for 20 minutes or so. So it's possible maybe we'll have to be able to come back a little bit later. So the tornado warning is now issued for Grayson County. This goes into Hardin County. So Hardin County, you're probably hearing those tornado sirens right now. If you're in the E-Town area, anytime you hear those, it's uncomfortable. Now we've got our camera here. We're going to be monitoring that area. And what I want to do here is look at that area where we have the tornado warning. So this is Grayson County. You'll notice technically if you're looking at the box, the tornado watch box, we call it a polygon, it is just west of E-Town. Unfortunately, at the current world that we're in weather, we don't really have the ability to turn on sirens only for specific parts of counties. So you're going to hear those sirens here for some time here in E-Town. This is as we look at the storm. Caneyville right here. What I'd like to do, guys, is if I could, who's on radar? Matthew. Let's start off here with reflectivity because I just want to make sure that I've got a good sense of where we are and what we're looking at. So what we have here is a storm that comes from Short Creek to Caneyville. We've got a little bit of a notch here, and then near Morgantown we have another one of those notches. So these are areas that we're monitoring for rotation. The rotation had come up enough that the Storms Prediction Center felt it's time, the Weather Service felt it's time to issue the warning. So radar coming in this direction, showing some rotation here near Caneyville, and then there's some rotation here near the Morgantown area. So we do have an elongated area of rotation, but there are definitely two areas where that's rotating. Matthew, I would, if we could, put a storm track, and looks like somebody is ahead of me thinking on that. What is the speed on these storms, Rick? 7.5 on from Rick DeLuca. And Rick, which mic are you on, by the way? Just want to make sure.
I'm on anchor 2.
Okay, Rick's on anchor 2. So 6.5 miles an hour. These storms
7.5, excuse me.
7.5.
That's booking.
These are moving at 75 miles an hour. Now, when you think about this for a second, if you were trying to get in your car and let's say get ahead of something like this, I mean, you're going on the highway at 70 miles an hour, it would catch you. So that puts it in Litchfield 8 minutes from now. This thing is booking into Litchfield 8 minutes from now, 14 minutes from now in the Annetta area, Millerstown 20 minutes from now, Upton 27 minutes from now. And while it looks like it's a really long tornado warning, it makes a lot more sense now because it's going so fast, why that warning covers a massive, massive amount of real estate here. This is our analyst right now, and interestingly enough, there may be a little bit of a tiny hail pop there near the Caneyville area. Rick, normally when we see a little bit of hail, we might be getting a little bit more rise in the atmosphere, and that can cause a little additional rotation. What are you seeing right now?
Correct. Well, there are a couple indicators, hail being one of them, lightning is also another one. But like you said, just to the west of Caneyville, we are starting to see some of those darker shades of almost purplish, a little blackish, which indicates there is some hail, which means the northwestern side of Caneyville. I don't think you have time to get outside and get your car, and I would not recommend it, but definitely get outside and try to, you know, just stay inside actually, because the hail.
Just that pop that says that this could be a little bit rising more, and that may enhance the rotation.
Right, and again, we're talking about hail that's less than an inch in diameter, which again is not big enough to do any damage. So this is not worth you running outside. But what's more important on here is I also want to show you a different product.
Okay.
And this is known as NROD. And what this really does is allow you to pinpoint exactly where we have areas of rotation, and we're seeing a little bit of that, but nothing crazy substantial on there. We like to say green means go, and there are some tiny little pockets now moving into southwestern portions of Grayson County, which means Grayson County, listen, just be prepared. This is going to be a long duration warning, goes till 11:45, and now there's tornado warnings banked up on the southern side.
So now we have another tornado warning for the area. So this one now would include Hart County. So 2, Rick, now warnings in our area. We knew this was possible, hence the reason you're here. And I just want to say thanks to Rick for coming in. I mean, it's hard to explain sometimes when you work in this industry. When you're at home, if you're home with your family right now, Rick, you're still going to be looking at weather data. And I assume the reason that you decided to roll into work is because you're going to be looking at weather data one way or the other, and you might as well be ready.
I was not going to sleep either way, and you know that. I mean, it's just it's kind of in our DNA. When there's something, we can't sleep, and that way everyone here's safe, and that's really the goal of everything that we do, to keep people safe. That's at the top. Property secondary. But now that we have 2 tornado warnings, this is definitely warranted, and these are going to be really quick spin-ups. On this side, we don't have a ton of instability or fuel to work with, and there's the latest warning now. So Butler, southern parts of Grayson, and also Hart County. Is it right on the edge of Hart County?
It does go into Hart County.
So this is something where you have plenty of time to move if need be. And we're going to be here watching these storms. If there is an uptick or a downtick in rotation, then this is something that we're going to really want to hone in on. So that's basically where we stand right now. 2 tornado warnings ongoing, and these are long duration. So what I would do is basically have your shoes, your phone, your charger, your flashlight ready to go in case you and your family need to run down and get in your safe place. And in southwest Grayson County, we're getting close, Mark.
Yeah, but
I'm sorry, Matthew.
I was going to say both of these warnings go until 10:45 this evening, but they're really fast movers. That's why these are such long tornado warnings.
And that's 10:45 Central or 11:40 Eastern.
11:45 Eastern.
So these are long fuse. I mean, this is not a warning that's going to last for 10 minutes. Matthew, what that means is the Weather Service feels a little more confident that the tornado threat on these is going to persist, or they would have issued one of those shorter fuse warnings. So what we're going to do here is there's a new tornado warning now also west of Louisville. So look, we told you guys this was going to happen. The insanity of this is somebody on Twitter was trolling us, saying that, oh, it's another one of those situations where you don't have any severe weather. I mean, look, we now have 3 tornado warnings in effect for our area. Almost every storm in the western part of our area has severe or tornado warning on this. So Clark, Orange, Washington, let me tell you, we're with you guys. We're with you. We'll stay through these storms with you. We've been through a lot of these together over the years, right? And this is an area I know well. We've seen a lot of these over the years. We've gone through them always the same way. So what I want you to do here is, as we now are ramping up and escalating, I want you to remember what you do. If a tornado warning is issued for your area, what are you going to do? I need you to remember the word duck, and it makes sense. If something's coming towards you, duck. I need you to get downstairs, underneath something. I need you in the center part of your house, I need you to keep away from windows. If you're on the second floor of an apartment and you're under a tornado warning, go knock on your neighbor's door. Say, I'm a little bit worried. Mark Weinberg said that there is a tornado warning here, and I just don't want to stay on the second floor. Could you help me? I think part of our area, one of the fabrics of us, is the heart of the people. So I think you'll be great. If you live in a mobile home and you're ahead of this, let's say in Salem, seek shelter now because it is moving in your direction. And if you're in a home, where's the best place to go? In the center part of the house. Someone asked Matthew and I earlier in our video, they said, I don't have a bathroom or an interior closet as a hallway. Good. Yeah, really what you're trying to do is if a tornado occurred and it started lofting debris, you don't want the debris hitting you. If it hits the outside of your house, I get it. I don't want a tornado hitting my house. I really don't want it hitting me more so. So these are things that we're aware of. The area of rotation here that the Weather Service is concerned about, this is Young's Creek. This is Bacon. Where is that? Here's the reference point of Paoli. So you're in the extreme southern part of Orange County. Where's that going? Towards Rego. 8 minutes from now. Now you need to be in your safe place in the Rego, Indiana area. Livonia. If you want to wait maybe 3 minutes, that's all I'm going to give you. At the 8 point, let's get you down into your safe place. If you have a basement, it's the place to go. If you have a desk down there, great, get underneath it. Let this go by. It's not going to last long. These will be 30 minutes and then they're gone. Rosebud area in Indiana, 13 minutes. Beck's Mill, 16 minutes from now. And this gives you then an idea of where that storm is going. Rick, I'm going to come to you here in a moment, and I want to look at some of these areas of rotation, and I want to do our exercise of looking underneath them. Are we seeing anything that would show that there is debris being lofted? So let's start on this tornado warning here. We're looking at, again, south of Paoli. Let's first look at the area of rotation. Let's identify and then look to see if there's any debris. Area of rotation, Rick is pinpointing it. It is right here. So Rick, let's go over to the correlation coefficient. I want a view in there. So what we're looking for is a hole exactly where the rotation is. Why? Well, this product is telling us, are the particles the same? Underneath the storm, it's raining. They're all the same. So it should all look pink. Now, if you see a blue hole pop up, that means we've got debris being lofted. We do not have debris being lofted. We're watching that closely. Rick is taking us down the line as we look more closely. Here we have the next area of rotation. This one is right on top of Caneyville. That's a problem, guys. This one's a supercell. Okay, can we zoom out a little bit more on that one? That hail core looks like it's come up some as well. Let me look at the body of that. Yeah, that's a supercell. Okay, so this tornado or tornado warning is now more concerning. So you can see, I alluded to this, there is a small hail core that's developed south of Short Creek. And now you're seeing the hook, the classic hook on the storm, and we're getting what we call a rear flank downdraft surge right here. What that can do is enhance the area of rotation and spin it up. Caneyville, you got to be in your safe spot now. Litchfield, I need you in the safe spot now. Let's not play with this one. It has shown signs now of intensifying. It is a supercell. Rick, I want to look where that rotation is, see if there's any debris there, and speak if you see something I'm not. South of Caneyville right here. Can you take me back over to the reflectivity? I'm going to keep my hand. Okay, so we're not seeing, at least for me, Rick,
I agree with you.
Okay,
it's
so it looks
outside of the reflectivity.
Inconsistent on whether there could be a tornado occurring, but this is about to go into Caneyville.
Really quick.
I'm listening. Yeah, Matt.
National Weather Service chat says that Caneyville Fire Chief reported a tornado on the ground in Caneyville next to the Western Kentucky Parkway, and then 2 minutes later said that it is now lifted. I don't know if that's an observation of visually or what that he might be reporting there, but I'm assuming it would be a visual observation. I'm going to try and get more info.
Matthew, did they go over to tornado observed on this one versus tornado warning? Rick, can you just
no, I did not see that in the chat.
Okay, Rick, can we just click this just to make sure on that tornado warning, make sure that we are I got my contacts and I can't read.
Still radar indicated.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Got the contacts. Doesn't work out well. So we're watching here near Caneyville. As Matthew alluded to, we did get a report of a tornado and then said it lifted. Is that mean a tornado touchdown or not? I'm just going to be transparent on this. It's challenging sometimes. We do get spotter reports sometimes where they say a tornado has touchdown. Sometimes we verify, sometimes we don't. But we did have a report of a tornado, and it is exactly where the area rotation is. Rick mentioned green means go, and we do have some yellow pops in there. That is right south of the Western Kentucky. We got to be watching that one real closely. Let's briefly go down to the last of our tornado warnings outside of our area where the core of this one is now, but I'd like to look at that one. This is more, what do you guys think? I think that one's more of a QLCS, meaning that is more maybe a spin. The Caneyville, Rick, does have a little more potential to be a little bit more than a spin. Matthew, you've got some new information.
Yeah, so Grayson County EMA is saying that they have a camera pointed toward, in Litchfield, pointed toward Caneyville. That's where they said that they saw a tornado. I don't know if it was just a funnel, if they could confirm that it was on the ground, but they're saying at least that there was something coming down, most likely from the cloud. So that's the report that we've had. Chief down there, fire chief, saying that there was a tornado in Caneyville, has lifted.
Okay,
but we haven't seen debris on our radar scans just yet.
And Rick, I'm going to come over to you on the analyst right now. Are you, again, we're going to be looking for the blue in there. Is there anything, we would know that Caneyville is populated.
Right.
So if there are structures here. If there was a tornado here, we should start to see debris on this one.
Right. So I'm trying to identify where there would be areas of debris, which would be those holes. Again, it's not inside the reflectivity here. So that's something we would have to have both of those, the reflectivity and the rotation together, and we're not seeing that. But we just got a new scan in, so let me. I will say right off the bat, still spinning. The hail core has come down. But there's a little dog tail in there, so
can you go back one scan? I wanted to see, because it was south of Caneyville where that tail was.
So that tail.
That is a hard jog northeast.
Okay, so that is moving northeast, and that may mean that that would be an occlusion if that's occurring. So can we look at rotation? What I think is happening here, in my opinion, is I think we're seeing an occlusion of what was near Caneyville. What's that? It means if there was a tornado, it's weakening. That may be now generating a new area of rotation, slightly north and east. The east is important because sometimes that means it can spin harder. The rotation, in my opinion, does appear that it's come down. Rick, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree with that. But again, like you said, new rotation may form on that, and there is a little appendage coming in on the south side of Caneyville. So although one may get absorbed into that main line, that doesn't mean that second one can't reproduce or do something very similar. So we're watching several tornado warnings right now. The one in Caneyville, it's the real deal. You have to be in your safe place immediately. Not seeing anything on the ground, but that area near Short Creek, you are right on the south side of this. What I want to do is go over once again to our other radar and kind of show you some other areas of concern.
And we're going to take a look at the further north storm because we're concerned that this one may be coming up in intensity. Let me zoom you out here briefly, give you an opportunity to orient yourself. This is where we've got our storms. No longer a warning for Bedford. There is no warning right now for Seymour. We'll take a look at that camera here briefly in a moment. But Matthew, this is the storm that we're watching. This one has a tornado warning on it, and we have seen persistent rotation in there, and that is definitely rotating.
It's north of southeast. It's just to the northwest of Hardinsburg, right along 150. So between Paoli and Hardinsburg, I think it was Chambersburg. If you could zoom in just a little bit.
It is Chambersburg.
Chambersburg is one area there. There was another smaller city off to the southwest of it. So south of Stampers Creek, that's where the rotation is. You've got your green, you've got your red. So green is winds moving toward the radar, red moving away. Our radar's in Louisville. So that's where the spin is between Chambersburg and Rigo. All right. This is an area of rotation. It's definitely not the tightest out of any that we've seen along this line of storms. When it was further west of us, when there was tornado warning, tornado warning, tornado warning, all up and down the line, then it decreased in intensity and is starting to pick up once again here. We're looking for usually brief and weaker areas of rotation for quick spin-ups. They happen in between scans sometimes. Fortunately, with the few that we've seen here, we've gotten a pretty decent heads up that, hey, there's some rotation here. It's lasting a little bit longer, which is why these warnings have been extended so far into the future. So we've got 3 tornado warnings on the board. This is the one that's the furthest north right now. It's moving east-northeast, so toward Rosebud within the next 10 minutes, Becks Mill within 14, Salem a little over 20 minutes and a little over 25 for Canton. You've still got time to get into your safe place. While we don't have confirmation that this is on the ground, we know that with weak, brief spin-ups, sometimes they touch down real quick and they lift back up and they're over in a hurry, and then that rotation just kind of hangs around but doesn't always put another tornado back down. So that's why we want to let folks know it's a good idea to go ahead and at least know where your safe place is, and it's definitely not a bad idea to go ahead and get there long before a tornado touches down. down. So again, that's our northernmost tornado warning. We've just got some new severe thunderstorm warnings. The National Weather Service did clarify that they are going to put tornado possible on every single severe thunderstorm warning they put out for the rest of the night. Yeah, they said that about 5 minutes ago.
Every single one?
They said from here forward.
Wow.
Every one.
That's an unusual one.
So, and that's just going to be their criteria for the rest of the night. So all of these could have a little bit of rotation in them. Even if it's not super strong, it's still going to say tornado possible just because of how fast these things spin up sometimes. But the trend has been through most of the night that a lot of these tornado warnings don't put down a tornado, or at least we haven't seen tornado confirmed on any of them that I've seen throughout the day. If you've been watching us while we've been streaming, we've really been keeping up with that. The tornado warning that's in our northern counties, again, that's going to be Washington County over into Orange, just north of Crawford and Harrison. So it's Washington really and Orange County that we've got included in this tornado warning. North of Rigo, north of 150, it's just crossed over it, getting ready to cross that county line. South of Livonia, most likely. South Hardinsburg, Livonia Road, that's who's up next. So if you're in that area, south of Livonia, or along 56 there in Washington County, I think it's a good idea, if you're up even in Salem, New Philadelphia, good idea for you to go ahead, at least remember where your safe place is. Definitely not a bad idea for you to go ahead and head there. So Becks Mill in 8 minutes, Rosebud within 5 now. Pierce at 16 minutes. It's not going to take long for this to get to you because they're moving really fast, gentlemen.
So we're continuing to watch these, just getting a new scan here. Rick, you have been watching the storms in the southern part of our area. I'm going to come over to the analyst. What we have seen is that area of rotation near Caney occlude, weaken, and then that area that is near Short Creek still showing that tail. That one still remains a supercell. What I find interesting is the rain, the red there, it's starting to advance even harder now on the southern side of it. That may choke the storm, so that would be good. But interestingly enough, the area rotation is fringing that warning now on the northern side.
Right, so it may, if it can hold, may require an additional warning. And just so you know, there are levels of tornado warnings. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but we have at the bottom is severe thunderstorm with tornado possible. And then we have radar indicated tornado, which are the red ones that you're seeing. And then if there's a confirmed or observed tornado where we have damage being done or someone happens to have eyes on it, then you will see a purple polygon. And that means there's a tornado ongoing. If there's a double purple polygon, that means tornado emergency. And I don't think we're going to get anywhere close to that tonight. But tornado warnings are going to be common here as these storms work their way through, Mark.
We're going to take a look at some of our cameras around the area. These are obviously going to be very valuable. Viewing from New Albany, that's looking towards the west-southwest right now. That will be watching that storm coming out of Tell City. That one, as Matthew alluded to, is severe with tornado possible. The Weather Service has been transparent that the tornadoes could form at any moment. Matthew, we did a video, you and I, earlier, and this was one of the things you and I talked about, is that you can get a tornado that occurs in between scans. They are acknowledging that potential. And this is one thing that I think is important to note. Sometimes, you know, people don't realize I get a severe thunderstorm warning. It's not a tornado warning. I don't need to worry. The Weather Service has made it abundantly clear they're going to put tornado warning on every single one of these.
Or tornado possible.
Fair, my mistake. Yes. Tornado possible. So one might be able to fairly say, treat these as tornado warnings.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Because, again, that's what we're here for. So when you get a warning and it says severe thunderstorm warning, sometimes you just go, oh, man, it's just winds or it's hail. But then you look at the fine details and you see, well, it says tornado possible here. So who do I turn to? Well, that's when you turn to us. You turn on the TV, you get on our streaming, and you say, well, tell me where that tornado is possible within it. That's what we're here to do, is explain to you. Most of this is straight line winds, but there's this one area that we're looking at that could spin up a quick tornado in between scans.
And what's going to happen here is they'll tornado warn the ones that come up a little bit higher.
Yes.
They've acknowledged that any one of these could generate a tornado with little advance notice, hence the reason they're going to do this. E-Town right now, you can see the lightning there.
Lightning,
in the
get
distance.
a lot of ticket.
So these are things that we're going to be watching here, and this is the view out of Louisville. Our camera network is available. Just a reminder, we are on multiple places tonight. You can watch us on WDRB. If your power goes out, we are streaming on Matthew's.
Pick up the phone.
Facebook, my Facebook page, WDRB News. We're on YouTube. We're everywhere. So if you want to be able to watch that way, you can. Let's talk about what we have around the area, guys. I'm going to bail off here. I'm going to head over to the wall, and what I want to do is a tour of the area. Rick, keep an eye on these 2 specific locations. Let me know if I need to come to you if you're seeing something changing.
So we start north?
Yeah, let's go north to south. And just so you guys know, and I do want to cover severe as well, let's do the whole line, Matthew. Just a reminder, if I'm talking, Matthew in this instance will be manning radar. If Matthew's manning radar, Rick's eyes are going to be on the tornado warnings at all times. He will not take eyes off them. He will jump from one to the next to the next. If rotation comes up, he will give me a hand signal and we will then talk. If he sees debris, he probably won't give me the hand signal and he'll just start talking. So let's go down the line. Bedford, Indiana, Seymour. We have the storm that's left Bedford is near Seymour. Notice this is void of lightning. So this does not have a warning on it right now. Void of lightning, as we noted earlier, means air's rising slower. Rising slower means you're not going to be able to tap into as much of that rotation. But that said, you can clearly see there's still little notches along the line. We're watching every one of these. The winds right now, Weather Service has deemed they're not strong enough to justify a warning. We're going to go a little further off to the south, that line just west of Seymour. By the way, Matthew, can you track the northern part of the line? I want to just track as we go from spot to spot. This one is probably in the neighborhood of 50 off towards the east. So this one moving east at around 5-0 puts it in Seymour 8 minutes from now. We want to make sure that you're getting that information. We've got you covered, Seymour. Four Corners 18 minutes from now, and North Vernon 24 minutes from now. We'll be watching our Seymour camera to see what happens, make sure that we don't lose any power on those locations. We've got you covered closely. We're going to go further to the south now, watching the storms as we go through the Washington County, Indiana area. So I first want to start tracking the whole area, Matthew, off towards the east. I want to give Scottsburg, New Washington, Charlestown an idea as we track that storm, what time you should expect it. Remember, we are in the neighborhood of 55 miles an hour. So in Salem, I got to have you in your tornado safe spot immediately. Downstairs, I need you underneath something. I need you in the center part of the house. And I need you to keep away from windows. These are things you need to do to protect yourself, your life, your property. Jennings, 16 minutes from now, this will be in the Scottsburg area. 18 minutes from now, Lexington, Indiana, 28 minutes from now, and Republican, 30 minutes from now. This then covers the wider. Matthew, let me get a scope here on where that area of rotation is. You mentioned it when you were over here a little bit earlier. Well, let's get a recap on where we stand right now. And we can move that up and down. I think most likely we're probably talking about, let's go a little further south. There we go. I think that's it near Fredericksburg. I think that's what's left of it.
That's picked up some. I think it was actually a little further north a short time ago. Let me go back a couple scans.
It's a fair point, actually. We can go back and look.
So it was moving kind of northeast. Yeah,
there we
crossing.
Go, we're right here.
Yeah, as it was crossing.
There it is.
150.
Okay, so it actually appears that we may have multiple areas of rotation in here, which is not unusual.
Yeah.
We've just got to watch this area from Salem south to Fredericksburg. There's been what we call transient rotations. Transient meaning they come, they go. It's the reason why these severe with tornado possible tags are necessary on so many of these. So not imminent right now. Rick, you're not seeing any debris on that storm in the Washington County area. Just want to verify with you on that.
No.
Okay, Matthew, I saw.
Yeah, I just want to make a quick point. Okay. We talked about this in our streaming, that once these storms get to you within 30 minutes, your severe weather threat basically goes to zero. That has happened for Orange County. So you are underneath the tornado warning, no longer have a tornado threat for the rest of the night, Orange County, or up there in Lawrence either.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I mean, it's nice to not have to be awake all night. So we're moving down the line now. We need to be worried about 60 to 70 mile an hour winds here. Whiskey Run, Leavenworth, New Amsterdam. Let's do a track from Fredericksburg all the way down the line through Leopold. This one is the one that banks up to Louisville. So the Weather Service was very clear not to issue this for Louisville yet. Is it going to be needed? I said this in the stream, we're going to get a lot of warnings. We're going to get a lot of warnings. I don't think there's a way around that. And if you don't follow me on Facebook, we do these streams anytime it's active weather. If you follow me on there, you'll get an alert when we go live, and we go live a lot. So 1 minute from now in the Milltown area, Palmyra 9 minutes from now, 16 minutes from now in New Amsterdam. Now we're starting to encroach on Metro. So 24 minutes from now in Georgetown with 60 to maybe some 70 mile an hour winds, and New Albany 3-4. 34 mile an hour winds. Remember, we have a camera here in New Albany and Coordinate. So these two areas, we should get a good sense on what it's doing as it's on final approach towards Metro. Not tornado warned right now, but as I noted, these are all severe with tornado possible. New tornado warning just issued. Let's focus here now. This is that one, Rick, this is the one that breached the northern part of the warning, isn't it?
Right. The rotation is right on the line, so I'm just waiting for that to come into my system.
Okay, so we mentioned this, that it appeared it was about to breach the polygon. What does that mean? It means that the area of rotation is about to move out, and it could move into an area that's not warned. They obviously recognized that, as we noted that, and issued a new tornado warning. But so now you have a tornado warning banked up against E-Town, and then you have a tornado warning that goes across the northern side of E-Town. So Matthew's got that area of rotation pinned, and I agree exactly with where you have that. That one will put in Pierce, Mill, in 3 minutes. Get in your tornado safe spot now, Pierce Mill. I need you in the safe spot. Puts it 11 minutes from now in the Howe Valley area, Four Corners. It'll be for your area in 14 minutes, and 19 minutes from now in the Rineyville area. Downstream, we're talking about areas like Lebanon Junction, Boston, Kentucky. And can we zoom that out just a pinch, Matthew? Only because I just want to get a sense. There are a lot of warnings now covering a lot of counties within our area, but I want to go out even a little further, give trajectory beyond these. Hodgenville, we're watching for you, Magnolia, E-Town, and then this northern portion has jogged to the north, which would get that into Bullitt County and potentially southern Jefferson County. So thinking ahead, if I'm in southern Jefferson, if I'm in Bullitt, what am I going to do if I go under a tornado warning? Now is the time to be prepared on these. Matthew, let's just track the whole thing before we come over to this, Rick, and I'm going to come to you on the analyst for you in a moment. But Matthew, I just want to track, because we did track the rotation areas. Yeah. I want to track the whole line here, because even if you're in an area that's under the tornado warning or not, there's still 60 to 70 mile per hour winds in there. And I think that whether you're in that tornado warning or not, you want to know. So Rineyville, 15 minutes from now. Upton, I need you to be ready in 22 minutes from now, 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. E-Town, you got 23 minutes. So I'm going to put that in your area at 11:47. 1147 E-Town. That's when you need to be prepped for this. And Magnolia, 33 minutes from now. Rick, you've been watching these storms on Analyst. You're watching rotation. I can see your eyes focused there, looking for debris. Anything you see that concerns you that this is more than a tornado possible?
I would say it's still tornado possible. Okay. That little area has been hanging on for dear life. It is just trying to get cut off, but it has not happened just yet. And what I'm referring to is just that little inflow. It's a small, narrow little window, which we've been watching, but that is the area of rotation we're keeping an eye on. So what you see is just south of Hudson, there's a little inflow and there's a little break, and basically that rear flank downdraft, or the bottom side of that, is accelerating forward. And what that's doing is it may occlude at some point, but at the same time, it can also spin up quickly. So the area right here I'm referring to, again, if this gets choked off, the tornado threat will come down in that location. But once again, you may see additional areas of rotation spin up on the south side, but this should be accelerating and taking that over, choking it out, looking at rotation, not seeing anything pronounced. Nothing says to me that's a tornado or anything. And the last thing we want to do is we always go through this methodical procedure. We look at reflectivity, we look at velocity, we look at NROT, and then we also look at correlation coefficient, which usually just looks like a bunch of pink. And this really demonstrates uniformity. When particles falling from the sky are all the same size, both in the vertical and the horizontal, you see just pink. So what you're looking for are pops where you don't see that. So sometimes that can be hail. And also in this case, you see that, but that is not inside the reflectivity. It is right inside that hole. So that is a very good thing that we're not seeing any sort of radar telling us that we have damage being done. Not to say it's not a possibility, but that is at least a positive sign here on what is going to be a really active night with multiple severe thunderstorm warnings. And even inside of the severe thunderstorm warning, I know if you're in areas like E-Town and let's say LaRue County through areas of, let's say Breckenridge County, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning and also a tornado warning. Yes, that's very possible, because inside those tornado warnings, that's where the most rotation is, but the actual storm itself may also be producing severe winds on top of that. So that's why you have both warnings, just so you're not confused. This is definitely a case where you need to act quickly. Still seeing some rotation with that storm. Hopefully that will get cut off here, but we have some time to go. This is now reaching the I-65 corridor. And
4 tornado warnings in effect.
And we
right
have
now.
4 tornado warnings. The southern one has quite a bit more lightning. The northern one still spinning up. So we're just going to keep an eye on every single storm as they walk through, which means Louisville right now, you're just getting some lighter rain. You're probably saying, how much longer until we see this?
And this is, we're talking, I would say 40 minutes-ish. You know,
until Louisville.
We're talking about midnight or so. I think that viewing this, there's a couple things that are worth noting. Matthew, this is a big-time difficult scenario for the Weather Service. Big time. Because we've got an enhanced risk of severe weather. We're seeing these transient areas of rotation that are coming up and down at times. And these can produce tornadoes with little advance notice or zero. And dealing with this exact scenario is hard. And I think for the public, you know, it's not easy either, because I think a lot of people, you know, you tell me, but I think that when I hear severe thunderstorm warning, I think, you know what, I'm going to get some winds, whatever, and then a tornado forms and somebody's like, I got no warning. We're telling you right now that everywhere a warning is issued, the Weather Service will put tornado possible
on any severe thunderstorm warning.
So if you go under a warning, the Weather Service now, just so you know, if you go under a severe thunderstorm warning, the Weather Service has already told you this may generate a tornado with little advance notice. I think that's one point that must be stamped out of this.
Absolutely. All right, so I do want to clarify for the tornado warning to the north for Washington County and Indiana. Let me just say that I've been watching it closely. I think that we've gone primarily, if not entirely, straight line winds on this. Folks in Salem, New Pekin, in that area, this storm is already moving through Salem right now. It'll be in New Pekin within the next 3, 4, 5 minutes or so. It's moving about 50 miles per hour. It has gone basically entirely, and let me bring it up for you here, and we'll zoom in.
Okay.
I think that that's just straight line winds at this point, right?
I think you're right. I think that the transient rotations we saw are small.
And not to say it couldn't pick up again.
That's what I was going to say. The area that we've been following now is closer to Salem. And I think that what we would say is there's not an imminent sign right now that says tornado occurring. But we also know in this scenario that areas that have a history of showing rotation, we would watch a little bit more closely.
Yes. So I don't want folks up there in Washington County, Clark as well is included in this, north of Borden. I don't want you guys to think, oh, well, they're neglecting us. It's just that it seems that there is a lower threat as of now of a tornado. So we're going to focus more on the southern end of the storm. In fact, I want to focus a little bit more on this severe thunderstorm warning that's moving through Meade County, Brandenburg area, Irvington, a little bit further to the south, Leavenworth, it's just passed by you. This is a spot, and we tend to see really strong winds move through this area, southern Harrison, and they pick up real fast, and you get a quick spin sometimes. This has that look to me right now.
Yes, this area.
I'm not saying it will, but I do think.
DeLuca's already looking at me with that look.
If we get a tornado warning, the next one would probably come from what we're focused on right here.
And let's be clear, how many times have we saw storms come down the hill out of West Point, and they just go wild in the west side of Louisville, whether it's wind or even a tornado. But there's clearly some pops of rotation here that we're going to need to watch as this goes through New Amsterdam, Leavenworth, and then gets on approach here, Matthew. I'm just going to put this up here real quickly, just so you can see. This is our Corridon camera. We're not seeing obscene amounts of lightning, which is good, and we're not seeing the camera shaking like crazy, which is good. But we'll be watching that in the next 60 minutes. So I'm going to come back over to radar here. That's one camera we'll watch very closely. I know you want to show what we've got. Let me take you over to the other source.
There you go.
That's where you're wanting to talk about.
So again, we're looking at the velocities here, not reflectivity. Reflectivity is going to show you the rain, how intense it is, how light it is. Velocities, so our winds, the red moving away from radar, green moving toward. Our radar's right here. You see that spinning beam, West Point area. This right here, as it moves into Brandenburg, north of Brandenburg, New Amsterdam region, southern Harrison County, Meade County. This is a spot that I think we really got to watch, because we could see some of these little, they're not big notches just yet, but sometimes some of the stronger winds push out of the storm real quick, and you get that fast spin up. It's usually not on the ground for very long. Brief, quick spin up. hits the ground, lifts back up. That would be a scenario that I think that we could see within this line of storms. And if not that, at minimum, these are probably some of our faster winds that we've seen with the storms so far.
So that's what's on a beeline to get into Louisville.
Yes, and so again, that's heading through Harrison directly into Jefferson County. It's what, 50 mile per hour is what most of these are moving at. So it's probably going to take another, as Mark said, probably 35 to 40 minutes or so before it gets into western Jefferson County, eventually Louisville. So he's going to put the track on here. I'll move out of the way. I'll move over to the other side of the screen for you, Mark. Scottsburg, 5 minutes from now. These storms will be in your region. Greenville, 11:21 for Sellersburg, just under 30 minutes for Madison. That's further off to the east. Goshen, 32 minutes. Again, for folks that are underneath that tornado warning up in Washington County, we're not neglecting you. You just have significantly less rotation than other lines or other parts of this line of storms. Moving again around 50 miles per hour. Heth, 7 minutes. Corydon, 10 minutes. Lanesville, just under 20 minutes. West Point, around 25, where our radar is located. And sometimes those winds hit those radars and you lose the radar capabilities. So we'll have to switch to other ones at times if it's fast enough. Most of these winds, though, Mark, I believe, if you could double check for me, registering around 60 mile per hour winds with these storms, right? I don't think that they've taken these latest tornado or severe thunderstorm warnings.
Most of the warnings are 6-0. So Matthew alluded to, we're still under a tornado warning here in Salem. Let's take a look inside that storm real quickly. Again, as Matthew said, we're not ignoring you, but it just doesn't have the same appearance.
We don't see red and green next to each other, tight and bright. If we were to see that and we saw circulation, we'd be honed in on this storm.
Right.
I mean, we would just be so focused on it. It's not the scenario right now moving into New Philadelphia, Farabee, Pierce. Give it about 15 minutes once that storm reaches you, maybe as long as 30 minutes, and then your severe weather threat is done for the rest of the night for folks up there in New Philadelphia, Farabee. Let's go further south along this line.
That one's still a problem. That one's still a problem.
Four Corners, north of Vertrees, that is going to be a spot where we get at minimum some serious winds being punched out of this storm and where we could see a spin up occur. For sure. This will be heading toward Radcliffe, north or in the Rineyville area, crossing over 31W toward Lebanon Junction. Mark, what you got?
So that area south of Four Corners is showing velocity right now, signatures that could be north of 80. So it could be a spin. It could be a quick little microburst within that line. My belief is we're probably looking at a rear flank downdraft surge. A what? A rear flank downdraft surge, which means that it could spin and it also could produce briefly some very, very strong winds. That's probably the location within our area that concerns me the most. And that's on a beeline to now go just south of Radcliffe, heading towards the Lebanon Junction area. Rick, you're closer. You've been looking at that same storm that I am. What are you seeing right now?
So I am seeing exactly what we mentioned are these bright blues. And each one of these little boxes is a gate. And I can look at the wind speed inside, and they're showing around 91 knots, which
wow, that's
could be close to 100 if that's indeed reaching the surface. But what I want to do is give you an idea. This is right now on top of Salt River Road, and if it stays on that same track, then if you know your road, you hear this Salem School Road through areas like Berrytown Road and also Rineyville Road, and we'll just get one last one. I can't pronounce that one. Let's go with Meredith Lane. So these are where the strongest winds currently exist. And there's Meredith Road, there's Salt River. These are accelerating at 50 to 60 miles per hour. That's how fast the storms are going. So those winds can be taken from aloft and then brought down to the surface by these storms. So whether it's rotating or not, does not matter if you're talking about 80, maybe possibly 90+ mile per hour winds.
And one of the things when Matthew and I were doing our video earlier, we knew that and you saw this when we did our video on Friday, that the winds about a mile above the ground were in the neighborhood of 70, 80 miles an hour.
Correct.
What height are we looking at here? Because we know they should be crazy high aloft, but if these are, let's say, under 1,000, then we would really elevate our concern even more.
These are about 1,300, 1,400.
But with each scan, we're losing about 300 feet because it's getting closer to the radar.
It's getting closer, and it's also, we still see some really high pixels in there, but the overall, that ball of energy doesn't seem to be holding together, but that's a trend. That does not mean it will maintain that. but it certainly was really compact before. It seems like it may start to spread out a little bit, but trust me, that's still a concern.
And that could support the concept of this being more of a microburst that's occurring here, where it hits the ground, spreads out. What is a microburst? So I'm not going to do it. But if I had a cup of water here right now, and I put it up here and I tipped it over, the water would run down until it hits the table, and then it's going to spread out. And right where it hits, it's going to spread out at the fastest speed. And as it spreads out beyond that, it's going to kind of slow down a little bit.
Because friction with the ground and things it interacts with, and that's what Mark just explained is your faucet. You turn it on, comes down, hits the basin, spreads out in all directions, and that same concept can apply here with the atmosphere with these sort of winds. And they're a very localized pocket, may only cover a mile or so, maybe 2 miles if it's a microburst. If it's larger than 2.5, it would be a macroburst. So these are certainly a possibility here. 4 corners, I want you to be away from windows. If you can get downstairs, do that, but certainly do not be outside. Do not go look for this. The winds are going to be ferocious. They're moving in your direction. I want you to get away from windows, get into an interior room, because that can indeed take some limbs down, and it could throw those around. And that's really not the concern. It's the debris that's so concerning, not just the storm itself.
And let's take a look here at power outages, because we have seen at times Louisville, Matthew and I saw this earlier, up to 2,800. Louisville's improved 670 without power. I'm glad to see that. Storms now on the northern. We're going to go a little bit further to the north. These storms are quickly approaching the Corydon area. They're not in Corydon yet, but there is a little pop now in terms of the intensity, and I think that's a little bit interesting. This is the area that Matthew was honing in on a little bit earlier. Matthew, notice in your white cloud, there's a little bit more of a purple in there right now, and also we're seeing notches, breaks, some roughness to that front edge, which at times could mean that it's trying to rotate.
You talked about a little bit of purple in there near white cloud. That may be where we get some hail. And we said earlier that severe criteria hail of quarter size or larger, really not what we're anticipating for tonight. However, nickel, dime, pea-sized hail, all of those things would potentially be on the table. So this would probably be our spot to get some hail along this line of storms. As it continues moving east, yes, it's rocking and rolling. Yes, I have seen a couple little areas of some rotation here. Let me try and bring that up. Not quite all the way yet, but these extra notches.
It's the pushes. It's the little pushes. And
south of Corydon, south of Old Forest Road.
And that one that's southwest of Corydon is going to go towards Corydon. So we got to be careful on that stuff, Matthew. You're on point on this.
135 and crossing over 337 here soon. I'm going to hop on the green screen in a second here. These little bitty notches, I have no doubt, would be where we get our next tornado warnings issued, okay? So again, 135, 337. If you live on those roads south of Corydon toward Dogwood or Central, so Corydon to Central on 135, 337, Corydon to Dogwood. In those areas, we've got multiple regions of rotation. Just starting to kick up. This is classic QLCS tornado potential here. Are each one of those 3 that we were pointing to going to produce a tornado? We can't say for sure. Potentially none of them do. That's also classic for QLCS, is where you get these little areas of rotation, and they're short-lived. They don't always make it to the ground, but sometimes they go tornado warned. It would not surprise me for a second if the National Weather Service were to come out with a red box there south of Corydon, including Corydon potentially, or very likely as well. So again, this portion right here, north of the river to Corydon, that's where we're really focused on for the next round of tornado warnings to potentially come out. Mark's putting on that tracker for you here, moving again at 50 to 55. Corydon, within 3 minutes, you're underneath a severe thunderstorm warning, tornado possible. There's not a tornado warning for you, but it's tornado possible. All the severe thunderstorm warnings for the rest of the night will be. Because of brief, quick spin-ups, sometimes it's hard to get a warning on them fast enough, or a tornado warning. Louisville area, this line of storms probably going to be in Louisville within the next 30 minutes, all right? Probably 25 or 20 for western Louisville. Corydon, you can see that we've got our camera pulled up.
I don't know if that thing is frozen.
You don't think that the water drops have changed at all? Maybe.
It's breezy, right? And those droplets aren't moving at all.
The trees aren't moving?
Yeah, may be right. I'm not convinced that we're going to see anything out of that one. So
may not be able to use that one for the rest of the night.
Okay, so but this one out of New Albany,
you
is
can see the cars. Yeah, they're moving. So definitely seeing. Okay, so we got a good live feed coming out of New Albany. You can see the raindrops hitting the camera lens there. So we're going to keep using that one for most of the rest of what's approaching Louisville for the rest of this evening. Let's get back to radar. You saw a little bit of lightning there. Let's get back to radar and show folks what's happening. Again, with I think that line that's west of Louisville. Let me know as soon as possible if another warning comes out for that, gentlemen.
We will.
Because I think that's going to be the spot. Our warnings to the south, there are 3 south of Louisville, including the E-Town area or just west of E-Town. Litchfield, you're still included in this. Down there into Hart County. The 2 southern ones, we haven't seen as much rotation recently. The one that's heading toward Vine Grove and Radcliffe, between Muldraw and E-Town, Longview. That's an area over the next few minutes. In fact, it's basically there now. And they just put a new tornado warning.
So this is the downstream tornado warning, Matthew.
So you can.
And this is an area that Rick has been watching. There's multiple areas of rotation. The downstream warning's huge.
It is. It definitely is.
Huge.
And so I think that they've.
That's a tornado
warning.
That's
tornado
huge.
Warning. Yeah. If we could throw velocity up there so we can analyze this one.
Let me just give you the warning first with info. Let's get the newest one. There are the counties. I figured it's not a bad idea to call these out, Matthew.
So 12:30 until 12:30 tonight, as it's crossing over I-65. That's how long this warning goes out for. So we've got another 45 minutes on this at least for Hardin, LaRue, Marion, Nelson counties included in this. New Haven, you're in it. Boston and Bardstown, Loretto. Bardstown, Loretto, you're like, dude, it's not even raining yet. What are you talking about? Well, they're moving about 50 to 55 miles per hour. So they're making these longer fuse warnings for you. They're decent movers. Again, most of what happens here is it's just a small area for a brief time period, gets a quick spin-up tornado, but you have to warn sometimes a bit of a larger area because you don't know exactly what part of the line is actually going to throw out that tornado when you get all of these little kinks in it, all these little areas of rotation. Which one is the one that produces it? You just got to warn the whole thing sometimes. As I was talking about earlier, Vine Grove, Flaherty, Dietz Acres, Gaffey Heights, Radcliffe. Boy, what potentially is a microburst here. That thing whipping winds. Even if it's not rotating, it is tornado warned, but even if it's not rotating, you have winds like that potentially are getting to the ground at greater than 70 miles per hour, potentially. You're going to have some damage that's low-end tornado-esque, okay? Yeah. So even if it's not a tornado warning, I think that we see damage out of that one there. The one to the north that we've been keeping an eye on.
This is the EAS, by the way. I just wanted to give this one. This just came out. This is an 80-mile-an-hour wind on this one.
Okay.
So we talk about this, Matthew, on our phones. The WEA warnings, you'll probably hear. Everybody's going to be hearing this right now. Which is this 80? Every one of our phones is going wild right now here in the Louisville area. This is an 80. This is the Louisville warning, I believe, Matthew.
Yes, it is.
Let me verify this with 100% certainty because this was just given an 80. So I want to put on the... You might have to get
away from that tornado warning.
I know. I'm trying to get it to there.
There you go. That should do it.
There it is. Okay, 80. Louisville, 80 Louisville.
That's exactly what we were talking about with that potential microburst. 70 to 80 mile per hour winds possible with that. It's been holding together really well. So it may not be a microburst, Mark. It may just be that rear flank downdraft. It may just be straight line winds coming out of this storm. A microburst oftentimes doesn't move a whole lot further than where it initially hits. All the damage is caused there, and then it's done. This looks like it is moving with the storm system, which is why they put the destructive tag on here for 80 mile per hour gusts. Tornado possible here because when you have such force coming out of a storm, sometimes it's pushing at 80 and it whips one up real quick and gets that tornado to drop. So again, it's not tornado warned. It is tornado possible though, and it includes a lot of folks. Buena Vista, West Point, Muldraw, again, Vine Grove, it's over you right now, Radcliffe, and eventually it will be up in Louisville and most of Jefferson County. Mark?
So we've got the tornado warned storms to the south, and we have elite high-end severe thunderstorm warnings now going on. These are not your regular severe thunderstorm warnings, these are elite. And Matthew talked about this earlier, but those highest winds right now are very close to what's referred to as the cone of silence on the radar. You can see the Weather Service clearly identified what we've been talking about. That blue area. Rick, you've been watching it. I want to come to you because you When I talked to you last, this was 1,300 feet above the ground. Where are we now? I assume it's got to be much. I'm going to say under 700 because we're close to the radar.
750.
And,
750.
And what are you seeing in terms of those pixels? We still have some of those blues in there. You can actually pop to each one of those and see each individual view from the radar. What does it say?
So some of these little boxes.
Okay. And again,
bins.
it's about 650 feet to 750.
This is 96. Okay. New
this
scan,
is going to be even lower.
It
though.
was 96. It has
That's
lowered.
in Radcliffe. That is in Radcliffe.
This is in
right
Radcliffe. She's still showing at a max 84.
Okay. What
knots.
height now? We're lower. Are we
even
under
lower.
400?
Yeah, it's 400 now.
So this is serious. If you're in Radcliffe right now, this is serious.
The winds must be howling right now in Radcliffe.
It's got to be cranking right now in Radcliffe.
Gaffey Heights. So I think that might be what we're focused on there. Is the Gaffey Heights area might be getting the strongest of the winds. Dietz Acres, south of Muldrow. Yeah.
This is basically on top. So we're in Gaffey Heights. We're crossing 447 right now. This is basically on 31W. So when you go over 31W, you know if you come out of Louisville, you go up through the hills and then you start to kind of flatten and come down. That's where Gaffey Heights is located. So this is right in that location. And this then means, here's the thing, I want to say this, and I don't want to mix words here. I don't care if this produces a tornado. If it's me, if it's my friends, if it's my family, I'm saying if you're out ahead of this, get in your safe spot. I'm telling you 80-mile-an-hour winds, whether they're rotating or not rotating, your house does not care. If it's EF1 or 80-mile-an-hour straight line winds, your house gets damaged the exact same.
You know, let's make a very specific point. A brick home, wood home, going to withstand 80-mile-per-hour winds. You could still see, you know, debris that causes cracked windows, something like that. Some gutters come off. Mobile homes, though, we've touched on that a lot.
It's too strong
in our streaming. So, Mark, can we give some advice to folks that are in mobile homes that are going to be near West Point and Cupio?
Let's be very specific on areas. If you're in Pitts Point and you're in a mobile home, you gotta seek shelter in a sturdier structure. Unfortunately, the winds are just too strong,
especially if it's not strapped down, particularly.
Yes. But either way, I would tell anybody with EF1 level winds, don't play around with it. That could be in Shepherdsville and Gap in Knob. So these areas very specifically, if I'm in the immediate, in Pitts Point, I'm going to take my shelter now. If I'm in Pitts Point right now, I'm not going to be waiting for another tornado warning to be issued or whatever. I don't care, because you're on the high end of damaging winds. The Weather Service uses verbiage destructive for a reason. It could destroy homes. It can do significant damage. It can take down trees, power lines very easily. 80 is not 60. 80 is elite. This is big time winds.
Right. So that's why, I mean, I think some people get so caught up on, well, tornado warning, severe thunderstorm warning. It doesn't matter. When you're talking 80-mile-per-hour winds, the weakest tornado, EF0, starts at 65. Which means that should get your attention. These are winds that are not rotating, but stronger than the lowest level tornado. So I know if you just think tornadoes, no. Straight line winds can do just as much damage. If you're south of Muldrow right now, these winds, just to give you some, this is right on top of you. So 5th Avenue.
And let's go over if we could, Matthew.
Okay, new scan just came in.
Let's go over to analysts if we could, Matthew.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Thankfully, I'm going to show you the signature right there. Where it was. Fast forward to now. It's weakened some, but it's also approaching that cone of silence where we won't have data.
Yeah, but that may also be telling us something. I mean, that's now 150 feet off the ground.
So it may not be looking high enough into the storm to pick up those winds.
So we may be seeing that this winds are stronger at 300 to 400, 500 feet. That may just be simply what's occurring, but this is a better sample of what's going to occur down at the ground if you're near West Point right now. I mean, this is almost ground level. Right?
And we know how this works out. Usually it comes out the other side, and it may be just as strong as it was on the other side, but briefly comes down because of our capabilities and limitations on radar, and then it comes back up. And this place is notorious for seeing winds like this that just really perk up. So please.
And it is worth noting, Rick, that there is a pop behind that too.
There is. There are stronger winds down through Flaherty. Again, they're not quite as strong as they were with that previous one, but if you can see, there's a number of areas that are dealing with these very powerful winds. So
what are you seeing in pixels? So those really dark blues you mentioned were probably some 80s.
They were.
What are you
now
looking at the lighter? I still see a couple pops in there. What are those?
They're still 79. Which
now that's a single pixel. The lighter blue around there. What are those? What are the neighborhoods?
Those are closer to 62.
Okay.
Which knots again. Which
so
70, 75.
So I think it's fair to say this thing's going to be producing 70 to 75 at best case, with some pockets that may squeeze 80.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
So we're watching this really closely. We have seen, as Matthew and Rick alluded to, that when storms go by West Point, Fort Knox, these areas, sometimes they just go wild coming down the hill and produce significant winds. I want to do a view here, Matthew, and I want to take this out. I want to look at everything that we have going on, because we've been heavily focused on specific areas here. Let's start with the northern part of the line, because if you're in New Albany, you're probably saying, Mark, you haven't focused on me at all. What am I going to see? And I'm going to say, let's do this. Number one, I want to zoom in on this warning, and I want to get specifics off that warning here first. Just be careful, because it's probably going to go after the destructive tag.
You may be right.
But let's go after that northern one so we can get and talk about wind speeds. So that's the Louisville warning. Matthew's getting onto the northern. So there we go. 6-0, Sellersburg, Jeff, Clarksville, New Albany. 6-0. This should get your attention. It says tornado possible. Matthew was transparent on this. The Weather Service said this is the way we're going. So now we're starting to hear the rumbles. Matthew, can you take me to two cameras? I want to start in the Louisville camera, and then I want to go to the New Albany camera.
Sounds good.
We can get a view that are looking west towards these storms. This is going to be real time, my friend. These cameras are about to get crazy. So I'm going to tell you what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be looking for power flashes as these storms go across our city. And what that would indicate to me is if they're doing damage. You could see there was a lightning strike. We're not looking at excessive lightning as it stands. Here's the rain curtain right now. That is coming across the Ohio River in the west end of Louisville. Once that rain curtain hits the camera, that's when the winds will come in. Remember, the more serious core is still coming through West Point and Fort Knox right now, and we're going to watch those. Now let's go over to New Albany. New Albany looking west into the storm. That one, New Albany, is now in here. So let's take a look here. I just want to get a sense. Cars are out on the roads here. Look, I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to shame, but yeah, you shouldn't be out on the roads under a severe thunderstorm warning. Not the best idea. It's just not the best one. But looking here, you know, if we have damage occur, we would see power flashes, and we would see there we go, there's lightning, and we would see basically the lights go out. Matthew, from that camera, are we going to be best utilized on that camera looking west or south based on where the storms are, in terms of where the strongest winds would be? Wow, there we go, lightning strike. These appear to be coming a little bit more from the south. Can you do me a favor?
Yeah, we could shift it a little bit. I know toward Georgetown that line is moving through right now, which is due west of New Albany. But yes, I'm going to make some changes and take it a little bit further to
and Rick, while he's doing that, can you do me a favor and take me back over to what we have going on right now along the line?
Sure.
I want to call up some towns here in the, there we go. There's some more lightning. Matthew, southwest here, I assume?
Yeah.
Okay. So Rick, if we could, let's look. Let's do a couple of views here. I want to give a real sense of what's occurring, what to expect here. So New Albany, it is raining right now. Rick, the core of those winds from Duncan through Riverside, can you give me velocity on that one real quickly? Just want to get a sense of what to expect and when.
Those ones are 60 knots, which would be about 68 mile per hour.
Right here. Right here. So this is going to be south of Corridon Pike, south of Duncan. East-northeast puts us in New Albany 2 minutes from now. It's about 90 seconds from now from being in the Portland area. We've got another one of those right now near the casino here along 111. That one's going to be in Shively in 60 seconds from now. And then PRP, it looks like right now that core is going to go a little north of you. But, you know, Shively, you're talking about 60 seconds or so. It's going to be a hard punch. It's going to be a hard punch, and then behind it, it will slow down quickly. The severe threat will not last that long. Let's go further off to the south so we can go through the rest of the city.
And Mark, the warning that you're about to cover here, the one for the Louisville area, they are taking a step down from 80 to 70. 80
to 70, and I think that that goes along with what we saw with Rick looking at that. As we're getting a real sense of what is ground level, I think that the 70 is probably more realistic. So the line is coming from PRP to Bethany. Once that hits, you're going to get that surge of wind. It doesn't look as strong in PRP and Bethany as the pops were near Shively. Let's go south of Fort Knox and West Point right now, because that's one of the areas. We're going to give you a track here so you know when to expect those storms.
I can't even get it fast enough. It's going 65 miles an hour.
Let's pop it out a little bit, Rick, and zoom it out a little bit more just so we can get those times correct. So what Rick's alluding to is that they're moving so fast that we need some more real estate on the screen so we can do the track long enough to get those storms to you. There he goes. And you see how far he had to drag that thing. 6.5, Rick, that accurate?
Yep.
PRP a minute. So this is going to cross an I-65 in about the next 6 minutes. And then it'll move into J-Town 13 minutes. So I'm just going to give you some calls here. I'm going to say Jeffersonville, Indiana. I'm going to put it in your area around 4 minutes to 6 minutes. I'm going to put this along 65 near the airport. I'm going to put it there in around 6 minutes. I'm going to put it in Preston around 6 minutes. This is in Shively in the now. And then I'm going to move that towards Beulah Church Road here along Gene Snyder. I'm going to put that in around 9 minutes from now. I'm going to put it in Fern Creek around 10 minutes. I'm going to put it in J-Town 13 minutes. I'm going to put that in Hurstbourne around 11 minutes from now. I'm going to put it in on New LaGrange Road in around 13 minutes. I'm going to take this to Anchorage at around 17 to 19 minutes. I'm going to go to Middletown in 19 minutes. I'm going to go to Worthington, Prospect. I'm going to put it in your area around 22 minutes from now, which will put that at 11:20, almost on the button. And then I'm going to put that in Goshen at around 11:30. So this then gives you a sense on where to expect beyond the metro. 23 minutes from now, Centerfield. 36 minutes from now in Newcastle, and Eminence 37 minutes. Now,
Mark, I want to take you over to analyst to not start to interrupt you, but I do want to show you some.
That's the pop in Shively. That's the one we talked about.
So this is now going to impact northwestern sections of Louisville.
West End. This is going right into the West End. What do you got on that high pink? I'm going to guess a 67 knot or 74 mile per hour.
I've got an orange with 82.
Okay, let's ignore the one.
The pinks that are moving into Louisville are right now 58.
Rick,
knots.
give me, and some of these others, let's ignore the orange just for a second, because we've got a lot of these lighter pinks. We can say that that's sampling a lot of, what are we at, 6.7 on some of those? 70?
6.5. We've got a 6.6.
Okay, so we're in that neighborhood.
Correct.
Which puts it at 72. Assume we're 700 feet above the ground, 600?
We are actually 1,600.
1.6?
1.6.
Okay, so that means that some of this could be a little bit more elevated. Remember that there's not a lot of surface-based fuel. So the further we get away from the radar has to angle upward a little bit so that we don't hit buildings, we don't hit trees. We need to be able to see the storms. So that may not be quite that strong, but we're watching that. There's some of the lightning strikes here out of Louisville as we look towards the west. Not looking ultra crazy here in the Louisville metro area as it stands right now, but that core is about to hit our downtown site in around 4 minutes. So we're going to watch real closely this particular camera as that storm comes in, and this one's going to tell quite the story. If we do start to realize those 7 zeros, those 70-mile-per-hour winds, we'll get power flashes. We will.
We absolutely will. We've seen it once, we've seen it before, and now those winds have made it into the West End. So Market Street, if you're along 29th Street,
and
any points to the west.
Is that accurate to say?
This is also New Albany, the tail end.
Okay, so I'm going to go to our New Albany camera. I mean, let's view from real time what we've got. This is the core of where the strongest winds would be. You know, it may be slightly elevated, Rick. It may be slightly elevated.
It might be, and may not be translating all the way down to the surface at that same intensity, which, by all means, that is a very good thing, because now this is moving through an area where it's the most populated. So if we're going to start to see power outages, this would certainly be the time. Seeing strong winds, what I do want to reassure you is that for the time being, I am not seeing any rotation inside the city. For the time being. But again, that could change on a dime just because of the setup we're seeing.
Yep, it's dancing. Here we go.
Can I give some quick updates on some damage reports that we're getting here really quick?
Yeah, but look at the camera real quickly
it is
now.
moving.
There we
There it
go.
is. Okay.
There we go.
That's
So
the
this is the
strongest of the
core of the
winds.
strongest. You can see, look at the lights there. See the winds coming crazy strong on that light right in the middle? So they're picking up right now. New Albany, you're in the core of it right now. This is the strongest of those winds. They could be 60. We do see some radar indications of 70. They're elevated. Matthew, you've got some damage reports for us.
So down in Grayson County, they've had about a dozen trees down, reported 3 lines down, 4,300 without power down there.
Okay.
A roof reported taken off a house, Pierce Mill Road area. I think that's far western or southwestern Hardin County.
Okay.
So yeah, these are definitely strong storms, and we're seeing some of that strength go directly through New Albany right now. We haven't seen any power flashes, haven't seen any of the lights go off, which is good.
It is good.
It is good, but 60 to 70 I think is very reasonable along this line of storms moving through New Albany. Again, you give it about 15 minutes after that leading edge gets to you, and your severe weather threat basically goes to 0. They're moving fast enough. It's one line of storms. You're good after that. So New Albany, 15 minutes from now, 12:15, you're looking a lot better.
And I just want to let you know, remember we were talking about that area of winds going through the radar site?
Yes.
And then coming back out on the other side? Well, that happened once again. They're not quite as strong, but trust me, there is a narrow area in Bullitt County right around Knob Creek Road along 1526, Applegate Run. And right there, you're seeing some of those stronger winds. And that is something that we were definitely kind of alluding to, that it would come out the other side and we would see some of these numbers, and that's exactly what's unfolding, which means if you're in that area of Bullitt County, you got to get inside, number one, but you got to get away from those windows because there are strong winds. Not as strong as they once were, not rotating, but there are definitely some powerful winds. So watching several areas, in fact, watching the entire area, there are some signals of stronger winds in certain pockets, but right now that area in Louisville is what I'm most concerned about.
Rick, can we go along the line south of Shepherdsville? We've got it pulled up now. I'm going to go over to the green screen real quick. Tornado warning for the folks down in Boston, Bardstown. Bardstown, you still haven't really seen this line get to you, but it just moved through Boston. If we were to go further north up towards Shepherdsville, there have been a couple of what the National Weather Service is calling nubs. I like to call them sometimes kinks in the line, oftentimes, where you'll see, right there, Bardstown Junction, you get this little outburst of wind coming in from the west, and that'll mix with the winds that are going into the storm a little bit, and it's a quick spin up sometimes. So this is what we're watching south of Shepherdsville through Bardstown Junction, heading toward Brownington, High Grove. Give it another 10 minutes or so. Is that in New Albany that you're seeing power flashes
out of
in the Louisville area?
We're getting power flashes.
Let me step out of the way and see.
There we go.
There you go.
There
There's
we
one.
go.
That blue light that you saw right here. We can't turn it back, but there was that blue flash right there. We may be able to pick up on another one here soon. So power flashes reported. This is downtown Louisville looking west. Mark?
This is looking due south on our Louisville camera right now.
Okay, so moving through southern Louisville. I don't see any more popping up.
I'm going to try to angle down a little bit here.
That's
just
probably
so we
a good
can get
idea.
better view.
And just so you know, those stronger winds now are moving into downtown Louisville. Downtown Louisville,
In fact,
you can hear me?
See, yeah, you can
They
see
are
the
on
screen
top
going
of us.
gray here, Rick, and that's that heavy sheet of rain moving through right now.
I'm going to just let the Weather Service know that we're getting power flashes from our
good
camera.
idea.
So that's a clear indication that there is damage being done. There will be people now in the dark.
And let's see it, Rick. I mean, we've got the number. There we go.
There it is.
2,000 people just lost power in Louisville, Matthew.
Yeah,
Since
it was
the
at
last
600
time.
something.
So we saw it.
Yep.
You were standing there. We saw the power lines exploding. Now we've got the numbers. This is verification that a damaging storm is in Louisville. This is not a maybe. It is happening now.
So again, so that's Louisville. Now we're looking further south, and we're waiting to see if any of these little nubs, these little kinks in the line, push out and produce tornadoes. Any of these severe thunderstorm warnings do have tornado possible on them. There is still that one tornado warned storm on the southern side of this orange box here, so you can barely see the red line. Hunters down to Bardstown. Still got a tornado warning for you guys. Let's go further south toward Boston and see if there are any additional signs of rotation near Nelsonville.
We just got a 70
Haven.
mile an hour wind measured at Muhammad Ali at Louisville, FYI.
Coming out of Boston, a little bit of a nudge there, not much, okay? Heading
Matthew,
toward Bellwood and Bardstown. Are you
I
going
want
to
to
go
take you
back
over
north?
to. I want to take you to Analyst because you can see these pops of wind are
there you
very
go.
strong now through Bullitt County, and these are just cruising off to the north and to the east. So Mount Washington, this strong area of winds moving your way.
Right up there. So give it about 5 minutes, Mount Washington, you could be seeing 60 to 70 mile per hour winds move up into your area. Is this severe thunderstorm warned for 70? I can't remember if this one is or if it's another 60, but I wouldn't doubt that it's going to be on the upper end of the spectrum here. Most of these storms.
That one's for 60, Matthew.
It's for 60. Okay. Now again, there are some little indications of potentially higher.
71 now measured in Louisville, by the way.
So even though the warning for the Louisville area is for up to 70 mile per hour winds, we just got a report of 71. So sometimes it's able to outdo itself by just a little bit. It's not perfect when a warning's put out. They're usually really good. Earlier, it was warned for 80 mile per hour winds. That has definitely come down. But 70, 71, obviously enough to cause power outages in Louisville when we saw those power flashes earlier. Speaking of flashes, a lot of lightning with these storms. So obviously still a very strong line. It hasn't died out yet. It was on a weakening trend and caught up with the initial line of storms. And Mark mentioned this on our stream earlier this evening. Once that back line catches up to the front one, it was probably going to ramp back up, and that's what we're seeing as it's crossing over the 65 corridor now. So I don't know if they just extended or issued a new warning to the north. I think that may be an old one up there. But looks like they may have put a longer fuse one south of Louisville, catching just the west or eastern edge of Jefferson County. 70 mile per hour wind gusts potentially in the Charlestown area. Sellersburg, it's moving through your region. Cementville as well, and Jeffersonville. But New Albany, you've already gotten these storms clear of your area. You don't have to worry about severe criteria winds any longer. It'll stay breezy tonight, eventually cooling down fast. Tornado threat over for you in New Albany, Greenville, Barron, folks to the west. Now we've got this new tornado warning that just came out. Fairmount, just east of Pioneer Village. This warning until 12:30. 12:30, so we've got another 23 minutes on it. It's for Mount Washington. Rick was just pointing to this earlier, and I was up here on the screen physically pointing to it, and he said, hey man, we've got these little areas that it's easier to see when we go over to analysts sometimes. Mount Washington, you've got less than 5 minutes for this tornado warned storm to be on top of you. Go ahead and get into your safe place. Mark?
So we now have, I think it's important to speak to what has occurred. We have seen damage occur in Louisville here. We had a 71 mile per hour wind measured at the airport, and radar-wise, Rick, there is no difference. What occurred in the airport could occur anywhere in the city right now, and I think it's very fair to say that if you're in Metro Louisville right now, you need to prepare for the potential for 70 mile an hour winds. I don't care where you are. You could be near Jefferson Memorial Forest. You could be near Okolona, you could be near Audubon Park, you could be near St. Matthews, Indian Hills. I could put you in Jeffersontown, you could be in J-Town, Fern Creek. Any of these areas, you could be seeing 7 zeros right now.
All up and down this line, 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, easily possible. Can we go a little bit further south and let's zoom in, not necessarily too far, but we'll go a little further south than that so we can get Mount Washington all the way down to Bardstown. Yes, and put on velocity for me here because we're starting to see some of these pushes of wind. So again, pushing into Mount Washington with the next few minutes, crossing over Bardstown Road 150. Cox's Creek, you're going to have some very gusty winds. You start to see some of that red and green, little notch starting to form heading into Bardstown. You're underneath a tornado warning. You have been for a long time, and you've probably been saying, where is this storm? Well, now it's over you. Within the next few minutes, that area of rotation will be over you. Mark, what you got for me?
I want to show you Bardstown camera because it is absolutely wild in Bardstown right now. Absolutely wild. Now, the good thing here is we're seeing, look at the flag going crazy. The good thing here is we're seeing trees that are lacking leaves and what looks like obviously exceptionally strong winds right now. The trees, Matthew, which would take out power, don't appear to be taking as much of a hit because they don't have the leaves on them. 70 mile an hour winds with leaves, you'd put a parachute on that tree. Yeah. The 70s are going to pull it down. We don't have those parachutes on the trees right now.
Increases that surface area dramatically when you add in those leaves. And of course, it makes it easier to blow them over, cause more power outages because they take out the power line. So let's go back to velocity, see if that latest scan has come in over the Bardstown area. A lot of lightning, a lot of heavy wind, heavy rain.
There's a rotation area right there. I think
so, right over Bellwood, heading into Bardstown. Anywhere up and down this line, you could see areas of rotation occur. Yes, but there are some spots that we're focused in on a little bit more than others. Right now, back up in Louisville, hard to see anything going on here because of all the rainwater that's on the lens there.
Right.
But what we did see earlier, not just flashes of lightning, but we saw some power flashes. Cox's Creek, you see some of the pinks and the reds here. That's probably going to be the 60 to 65 mile per hour winds moving into your area. Again, you go further north of High Grove, getting ready to cross over Bardstown Road there, 150, right in Mount Washington region.
Yeah, that's going right into the
Smithville.
south side of Mount Washington.
I mean, this is going to be 60 to 70 mile per hour winds easily going south side of Mount Washington, down there near Smithville, and that's another one of those spots that we're waiting for the potential for a quick spin up to happen here.
And we're going to move over to Rick, who here has been looking at the analyst here, and you've been watching some of these pops of wind. Rick, what's interesting is the airport saw some of the peaks, and there is on the front edge some areas where we have the really strong winds, but we're also noticing, even under the rain, which may be a wet microburst, that there are some significant pops of wind in there as well.
And by significant, he means 70 plus.
What elevation are we there? And this is crossing 65 right now, south of the Gene Snyder.
This is 1,200 feet up.
Okay.
It's about to cross over I-65, like you mentioned. If you are just outside the Snyder, on the south side of Louisville, this is a concern. This just moved away from Fairdale, so Fairdale, you don't have to worry about that. But this pop of wind is not the only one in town. So South Louisville, and I want to go over here to Mount Washington, where we also are seeing 70 mile per hour winds accelerating into Mount Washington. So this is a time where you need to know and be in your safe place. This is not worth the risk. We are seeing very strong winds. There's going to be damage from this. There will be power outages. Just accept that this is going to be a quick, maybe half hour where you seek shelter, and then you don't have to worry about it. So there's a new scan.
And this may be strong winds. This may also be a tornado. This could morph one to the other very, very quickly. So that's the reason why the Weather Service tornado warned this area, is because there's greater concern. And Matthew, we are getting reports of some damage scattered around the area.
So remember, I mentioned earlier, Pierce Mill Road looked like it was maybe far western Hardin County. And now we've got a report from Mark Richardson. He works for Bullitt County. Says the Hardin, Breckenridge, Grayson County, Tri-County area. Report of the roof off the house, so I think it's the same one, but everyone is out of the house and okay.
Okay, that's a positive. I mean, but we've got damage.
Yeah.
And I want to look at the power outages in Louisville. So
hasn't gone up much.
Exactly. I'm a little surprised on that, to be honest. With 70 miles an hour and wind in Metro, you would expect to see a pop. But that said, the trees are lacking leaves right now, so that can somewhat mitigate and help in this scenario. Look, I don't know how to tell it you other than the fact that I don't care where you are around Metro Louisville, there's severe weather. If you're west of Louisville, we're going all clear in Mitchell, we're going all clear in Paoli and English. You said this earlier in the stream, this is going to pass fast.
Yeah, 15 to 30 minutes max.
So then we would see that concern going down. But look, what we've been watching the camera in Bardstown, one of the things we tend to do post-storm, because that strongest wind has moved through Bardstown, is we get a sense how much damage has been done. It would go black.
Yeah.
So it has not.
Nope. So we still got power there. Yes, the winds were whipping. I mean, we had it on camera. You saw it. Everybody saw it. And we were broadcasting it.
And let's look at Louisville. We've got a lot of areas that saw 70 mile an hour winds. So that's, by the way, looking east from the 800 building. Doesn't look like a lot of people without power, or if any. I mean, I don't see something that says that. So I think our assessment in our concerns and what we're seeing happening is matching well. We saw this last year. We got an 80 mile an hour wind in late winter, and we didn't get a lot of damage because the trees didn't have leaves on them. And this may be paying some dividends for us.
One thing I do want to say is we've had a handful of tornado warnings already, at least 5, right?
Yeah, I'd say
one in southern Indiana, 3, 4 so far, maybe 5 in Kentucky. So 5 or 6 or so. And not a single time, and we watch this very closely, not a single time have we seen a CC drop, meaning a debris ball on any of these. And that, Mark and I really tried to hit this. I'm sure you did throughout the week as well, where, yes, we knew tornado warnings were going to be likely along a QLCS. It's pretty much inevitable.
It is inevitable.
Because you get the fast spin-ups and you're trying to warn for it because it's hard to catch
Sometimes it happens in between scans where it's not even detected, and that's what's scary.
So we haven't seen confirmation of tornadoes yet. Doesn't mean it hasn't happened, but the whole time we've been saying that damaging winds would be the most likely threat, and I think that that has proven true.
I mean, and here's the thing. Look, it took off a roof.
Yes.
Does it matter if it was a spin-up or if it was a straight line wind? I mean, I know that when I get damage at my house, I don't care. Spot a report, by the way, in Mount Washington of 73-mile-an-hour winds.
I believe it.
73.
So, and that makes sense. That's the area that Rick saw. And I'm going to head over to the wall, guys, so we can do a little bit of work here.
Yeah.
What I want to talk about is where we know this is now really a confirmed area of 70-plus-mile-an-hour winds. We've got a report of 73 out of Mount Washington. We had a 71 that occurred at the airport. This is not a maybe. This has happened. So a couple of things. Look, in Louisville, I want to address one thing. We do not have, unfortunately, the ability right now to turn on the sirens for only geographic part of the county. What I'm going to say and what I mean by that is you will notice that 80% of Metro Louisville is not in a tornado warning. This is Fern Creek, this is Billtown Road, and this is going to be, I'm going to say Fisherville. If you're not in those areas, you're hearing tornado sirens still. They're going off all around Metro Louisville. You're going to hear them. I just want you to know that the warning only applies to the southern part of the county. Now, that may not help your daughter or your son that are crying right now because they're hearing the sirens wail. I just want you to know that where we're talking about is the eastern part of the county. In fact, when we look here now, the warning does not include the airport. It doesn't include New Albany, Jeff, PRP, Fairdale. The warning includes J-Town, Middletown, St. Matthews. It includes the New LaGrange Road area. It includes Prospect and Goshen.
And that's the severe thunderstorm warning.
And that's the severe thunderstorm warning. And the Weather Service has opted to go tornado warning where we know the strongest winds are occurring because it could be straight line, it could be tornado, it could flip back and forth really fast. The core of the strongest winds more often than not is going to be on the front edge of this. Matthew, can we go over to velocity down there? So we do have this scenario where we have confirmed areas that have seen some 70-mile-per-hour winds. So you'll notice that these extend as far west as around the Newburgh area. So if you're looking at locations, you're basically talking Preston. This is 6-1 right here, that's Preston Highway, and this right here is the Gene Snyder. So if I'm in the Fairmount area, if I'm in Glen Mary, if I'm in, anywhere in Fern Creek, I'm worried that I'm going to see some 70-mile-per-hour winds. If I'm en route, if I'm in Fisherville, I'm concerned whether it's tornado or not. Look, I don't care. I would get in my safe spot. I have actually some friends in this area. You may have seen me looking down at my phone, and we deal with it just like you do. It is one of the hardest parts of what we do is we have to analyze and we have to deal with it and we have to stay in storm mode. There is no choice. This is what we're paid to do. This is our job. But it is uncomfortable when you see some of these things, having the knowledge we have, knowing that it's moving towards your friends or your family. You want them to take action. If you ever see one of us step away, and I've seen Rick do it, I've seen Jude do it, where they step away and they'll call home to the family and say, I need you to act. Understand, we're not asking you to act. We're asking our families and you to act. We're not telling you to do something that we wouldn't tell the people that we care about and love the most. And I just mention that because we're not ever sitting here trying to talk for a while. Remember, the laryngitis and my voice is not still 100%. Love to not be talking to Matthew, nothing personal. I didn't want to see you today. But, you know, the reality here is this is what we do. So when we look at these winds then, now I'm worried about Simpsonville getting some of these stronger winds near around the 65-mile-an-hour range. I'm worried in Shelbyville. Matthew, let's go ahead and track because we're talking about Simpsonville, south through Taylorsville, and it is on Taylorsville now. If you're in Taylorsville, you're on the edge of where the tornado warning is, but I'm going to take my tornado safe spot if I'm you. If my family was in Taylorsville, I'd be texting them right now, and I'd say you need to be in the safe spot. So Simpsonville, it's on top of you. Shelbyville, 8 minutes from now. That gives you a sense of when you would need to act. I would get into my tornado shelter if I'm in the Shelbyville area, only because we've got confirmed 71-mile-per-hour winds, 73 on the line. It has a history of doing damage. The Avonstoke area, 21 minutes from now, and 25 in Alton, and then Frankfort, 30 minutes. As Matthew alluded to earlier, these things are rocketing off to the east. Matthew, let's continue the track. Let's go further south down the line. I don't want to let any of you out of my view here. Matthew, can you give me, I know you're going to have to slide into a weird spot. Can you give me that warning here, the Willisburg, Salvisa, Lawrenceburg area? I just want to make sure that we know exactly what we're talking. 7-0. That has been the theme. This line has a history of producing 70s. And as Matthew noted earlier, everything will have tornado possible. Rick, I know you're buried in there, and I'm going to come to you in a moment, and I want you to let us know if you're seeing anything that concerns you for debris being lofted. So on Bloomfield, we've got some 70s probably near you. Willisburg, you've got about 10 minutes, maybe 8 minutes until it's on top of you in Springfield. Matthew, since we have that, you read my mind. I love it. 3 minutes from now in the Briartown area, 6 minutes from now in Springfield. We're looking at 19 minutes from now in the Ballard area, Salvisa in 28 minutes, and the Harrodsburg area, 32 minutes. This covers that portion of the line. Let's continue our exercise and let's go further south. I don't want to let you out of my sight here if you're in Saloma, if you're in Summersville, if you're in Greensburg or Campbellsville. This portion of the line, notice the front is not as hard looking. It's a little softer. We see, instead of the brighter reds, we see more of the oranges. So we don't have a warning in some parts of this area, but we do in the southern portion of the line. Matthew, let me get info on that one that's in southern Hart County. And it feels like southern Hart County's been in a warning for a while. 60 mile-per-hour winds, tornado possible tag. Remember, every one of these will have one of those. So some areas we need to be thinking about, Campbellsville and Greensburg and Columbia. You have not seen any of these storms yet, and some of those could eventually be moving into your direction in the next 90 minutes. So this is going to end the show eventually here for us. Rick, you've been buried in what we call the analyst. When you're in the analyst position, your eyes are hurting by the end of the night, which I could see your eyes are a little red. You are looking for things like pops, where the rotation can come up. You're looking at where our wind speeds may come up a little bit. You're looking at things like, am I seeing rotation? Take me through what your analysis is showing.
So first and foremost, I just want to point out from basically Crestwood, Simpsonville, Finchville, Elk Creek, arcing back into Taylorsville, there is somewhat of a bow structure to that, which means in the apex of that, around Finchville, that would be the area which accelerates, and that's where you would see some of the strongest winds. Just to speak to the tornado warning itself, there are still little areas of rotation inside that box, which is why you should still be in your safe place. Because of the nature of this line, a quick spin up cannot be ruled out. So that's the story in terms of rotation.
Rick, can I point to those really quick?
Sure.
You had it pulled up there? Yeah, so the little notches that you were talking about, 1, 2, maybe 3 south of Simpsonville. Some of these heading directly toward the Shelbyville area. So you really haven't seen anything so far tonight, but you're going to be getting this line in, what, Rick, 5 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically Shelbyville, less than 10. It's in Finchville. And then on top of that, Matthew, just looking at the winds themselves, there are very strong winds within there.
And Rick, what you did is you changed products here in a sense, because what you're trying to get a sense is you were trying to highlight where the rotation is.
Correct.
And in this product here, you're trying to show where the strongest winds could be.
Yes.
Right. And it's like, you know, you have tools for certain jobs, and we can watch rotation with one layer of that, which is storm relative, but also just base velocity. And this is how we picked up some of those pockets of stronger winds that came all the way through the area and eventually into Louisville. So now we're seeing another signal of some of those stronger winds, which are in Shelby County. And again, Shelbyville, get ready. There's going to be some powerful winds. Some of these currently, again, we're looking about 3,200 feet up, which is higher up in the thunderstorm, but still some 70s.
And explain a little bit of that. We showed this, Matthew, we showed this earlier in the day, the 70, 75 mile an hour winds a mile above the ground. Rick, you and I showed this on Friday. Some 81s were showing up. And we were like, why would we show you the winds, you know, a mile above the ground? Who cares? It's the environment the storms are functioning in. So you said 3,200 feet above the ground. What we have seen in this scenario is we have seen several times where it's gone over 80.
Right.
But that is not necessarily translated to 80 at the ground. But
Correct.
we have seen it translate at times to about 73.
Right, usually it shaves off some of that. But again, when you talk about anytime winds 70, considerable damage, 80, it's destructive. And the fact that we measured 73 at the airport. 73
at the airport.
what else do we need to say? I mean, that is an extremely strong wind. And now, again, the line's going 75 miles per hour.
That's the movement?
That's what the movement with these lines. That's what's so concerning, is that there's not much time before this completely wipes through Shelby County. In Shelbyville, we just said, get ready. That line is quickly approaching you. Heavy rain, strong winds, and it's going to be an absolute electric show for you in the next 10 minutes.
And on the flip side of that, this is going to blast through Shelby County fast. And this is going to blast through our area fast. I know people in Oldham County are like, you know what, Mark, I want you to give me some information on what's going on where I am. And I'm going to say, I want to do that for you. So if we're in Oldham County right now, Goshen, the strongest winds have breached your area and passed. The strongest right now are extending from New Washington, Indiana. We've got some pops near the Bedford, Indiana area, pops near the Campbellsburg area, and pops near Pendleton. We continue in Shelby County with some of our most significant pops here. Matthew, some of this may be showing subtle rotation, but who cares? If it's 70 and it's spinning, or it's 70 and straight, your roof doesn't care.
Right. One of those areas of rotation crossing over 64. They just put a new severe thunderstorm warning on it for a couple. 1, 2, actually 3 different areas of potential rotation. So it's a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag on it. Probably going to be 60 to 70 mile per hour gusts within this. Mark's pointing out all 3 of those with these white arrows for you here. Shelbyville, you're in the bullseye of that. Within the next 30 seconds, 60 seconds or so, it's crossing over 64 as we speak. With the latest scan, in fact, it may already be past 64 and in Shelbyville, heading up toward Christiansburg within the next 5 minutes at the most. These are fast moving, 60 to 70 mile per hour speed on the storm itself. Crazy to think about how fast this is moving, but this doesn't necessarily replace the tornado warning. It does go out a little bit longer. That red box that you see here, including Southville, Figs, Finchville. It's already past Figs and Finchville with that tornado threat, but heading into Shelbyville as we speak. Clay Village, Hemp Ridge as well. Imminent just to the southeast of you. Pleasureville, you're inside that. Can we do a very broad view super quickly?
Absolutely.
I do want to give, some folks want to know, is it all clear for me? I want to go to bed. A lot of you can do that. If you are in southern Indiana, and you are west of I-65, all clear for you. Everybody up there. If you're in Louisville and you're west of Middletown, especially west of 65, but west of Middletown even, all clear for you at this point. For folks that are down E-Town, Litchfield, west of you all, again, west of 65, all clear for you. The only folks that are west of 65 but are still inside of this threat are going to be down in basically Hart County. That would be a spot that still has a threat west of 65, but even that is coming to an end within probably the next 10 minutes. So relatively 95% of our area west of 65 is just rain with some lightning and thunder for the rest of the night. No spin, no rotation, no damaging wind gusts, staying breezy 30 to maybe 40 miles per hour from here. It's everything east of 65 that's still warned. Severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings still. We've got at least 2 tornado warnings on the board. One of them, the southern one, getting ready to expire soon. Is that at 12:30, Mark?
Latest tornado warnings here. Let me get expiration.
That's okay. You did have something on your mind, though, that you wanted to say. You can get that thought off.
Well, I want to go back to the fact that you pointed out some areas of rotation, and Rick has been watching those. Okay. So I think that what I want to do here is I'm going to go over to Rick real quickly. Okay. And Matthew, we can clear the wall. Rick, what I want you to do is in those areas where we have those rotations, maybe what could be an area rotation, are we seeing debris?
Right,
and at the end of this, Matthew, that really is what matters, right? If we're going to see something that's doing damage, and you have a way to see that, Rick.
And you can see, if you look at the cursor, there's 1, there's 2. There are 3 separate areas of some rotation. So now what I want to do is just turn on base velocity and see what that looks like. So yeah, these little appendages, that's where that rotation may be occurring. I'm going to go back to storm relative, and with my eyes, highlight where those areas of rotation are, turn on correlation coefficient, and what I'm not seeing is any sort of debris being lofted. Now what I'm going to do is check on this one area right here just to be absolute certain.
So what you're doing, Rick, is you're trying to see is something getting lost, because we know it's raining in here.
Right.
We would see something that doesn't look like rain. It should bother us if there's a hole there. Go back. That one's in rain, but that could also be that maybe tiny hail.
Right.
That's showing up on that little purple that you showed there in the reflectivity.
Doesn't quite match up with the velocity, so that's why, you know, I would say maybe more some hail. Yeah, it looks like probably more hail based on reflectivity.
So it's just tiny stuff.
Tiny stuff, but that's the process here, is that we look at each individual area of rotation, try to identify, are we seeing damage? And we do that through this product right here, the pink one. It's CC. I explained this one before, but when rain, all the drops are the same size. So that's why it looks uniform. But it's the particles that are not uniform. Let's say if there was a tornado on the ground doing damage, picking up some siding, some shingles, maybe throwing garbage cans, tree branches, it would recognize that all of those particles simply aren't the same size. So when you see uniformity, that is a good thing when it comes to correlation coefficient. And this little pop right here, which for some may think, oh, is that possibly damage being done? No, it's actually hail. So it is able to pick up on hail, and you know that hail always varies in size. And to look at reflectivity, different layers of dual pole radar shows you that yes, we got a little pop of hail right down there. So that's going to be south of Shelbyville. And right now, Shelbyville is in that line with the heaviest rain, with the intense winds. Listen, 10 o'clock to maybe 1 a.m. in the morning, that's how long and how fast this line came through, around 3 hours. So in 3 hours, this thing wiped across the area. We're not quite done just yet, and we will not leave you until this line is fully out of our area. And what it looks like there's, see right there, I mentioned that apex of that bow, and that's where some strong winds accelerate. Severe thunderstorm warnings just stacked up like bricks, one on top of the other. Now, the focus point is east of I-65. If you're west of I-65,
Yep.
You can close your eyes.
Are you saying you're tired?
I'm not tired. I'm saying you can go to bed and you won't have to be tired when it comes to Monday morning, because you can sleep safe and sound. What's happened is we've transferred over from this line of severe storms to what we call stratiform rain. And that's just good old-fashioned rain. There'll be some rumbles of thunder in there so often, but this is just plain old rain. It's going to last several hours. But the severe threat now is east of I-65. So hopefully that can help you trying to take this all in, analyze it, and say, well, what do I do where I live? So that basically can give you a pretty clear-cut picture of who needs to be concerned and who doesn't.
And you know, you bring up an interesting point here, because this is stratiform rain. There's still lightning. People wonder what kind of lightning. You have multiple kinds of, you know where I'm going with this.
I know where you're going.
So you have multiple types of lightning. Lightning on the front of the line is going to be cloud to ground. You see it all the time. Lightning in the back crawls across the sky. So spiderweb lightning is possible in the Louisville metro area. If you've never seen this, it's wild. It literally looks like a sheet that crawls across the base of the clouds. So the stratiform rain, where that's in the back edge, like Salem, Louisville, Brandenburg, Hardinsburg, and E-Town, you may be able to get that crawling across the sky. Matthew, we know the storms did damage. We looked at this. When we were looking at this afternoon, we saw about 3,000 without power in Louisville. We improved prior to storm,
600 to 700,
and then the storm came through and knocked out another 2,000 without power. Look, I'm going to tell you this: 70-mile-an-hour winds coming through a metro, only 2,800 without power. That's not bad. Now, if you're one of the 2,816 family members without power, you're like, Mark, it's bad for me. I agree, but I'm saying that if this happened and we have full foliage, this would be north of 25,000, maybe more than 50,000.
The event obviously is not over yet, but we've got a little bit of a calmer point right now.
No tornado warnings.
No tornado warnings. That's what I mean by calmer. Obviously, some of you are like, it's not calm at my place in eastern Henry County or eastern Shelby. Yeah, it is still whipping, for sure. But the tornado warnings have come to an end. They are still tagged with tornado possible on these severe thunderstorm warnings. Basically, everyone that's west of 65, almost everyone, has been taken out of the tornado watch at this point. So that's the update. You still see yellow boxes. The tornado watch is still in effect for a lot of us, but about half of our area is out of it now. So we're seeing improvements. Unfortunately, for folks that don't have power now, and if you don't get it restored soon, tomorrow's going to be a real cold morning at your house.
It is interesting, right? So I turned my air conditioning and heat off in my house, only because I knew that today would warm, and then it's going to drop so far tomorrow that the heat's going to come back on. But there are a lot of people in for a rude awakening tomorrow, because behind this, you're not just going to get colder. There's going to be snowbursts tomorrow, and there could be some narrow stripes where grassy surfaces squeeze out an inch of snow, or maybe a little more.
Yeah, and fortunately the ground has been so warm that a lot of that melts on contact, especially with roadways. Not to say you can't get some slick spots out there with these snowbursts when the heaviest
intensity.
Yes.
Right?
And snow overcomes warm roads, at least briefly.
Fair.
But it's not going to be everybody. So that's why we can't put out a snow map and be like, this area gets an inch. Well, it's just going to be a thin band that potentially that happens.
It's like thunderstorms that we have now. Not that they're like this, but it's winter's version. I know you're like, winter?
I know.
2 seasons.
In 2 days.
In 2 days.
That's factual.
That's the Ohio Valley.
That is the OV. so yes, we're going to go from 70s to snow showers in 1 day with severe weather that move through the metro area here. As we stand, you can see severe thunderstorm warnings remain in effect for Jefferson County, Indiana. That includes Carroll County, Trimble, Oldham, Henry, Shelby, Spencer. This includes Eastern Nelson, Marion, and Adair. I want you to know in Jennings County, Scott County, Indiana, Washington County, Floyd County, I'm talking to you right now, my friends. Harrison County, I'm talking to you. In Meade, Hardin, and Grayson, you're out of the tornado watch. You can go ahead and button things up, head to bed. I don't want you to be super tired tomorrow. Louisville.
It just took more out.
Louisville, all clear on the metro Louisville area, out of the tornado watch. I also want to say a big thanks to the Weather Service on this one. Being proactive.
Yes.
And removing watches at 12:30 at night may seem small, but these guys are dealing with warnings right now. They're trying to deal with damage reports coming in, and they're clearing counties at the same time. One might be able to argue that clearing counties is on the lower end of importance, but it's not, because people in Jefferson County have to get up.
Yep.
And if there's school, you have to get up and go to school. I want to say all clear in Metro Louisville right now, and I want to say thank you to the Weather Service. Louisville's awesome at proactively clearing counties. So that said, Louisville, head to bed. We've got you covered here, but things are over now for the metro area. Matthew, we continue here with storms now. You and I talked about this, Rick. I'm going to wrap you at around 12:45 if we don't get another warning.
Okay.
And Matthew and I will take us home. We don't have any tornado warnings in effect for our area right now.
Nope. Here comes the latest scan, Mark, and it is progressing this thing quickly through our northeastern counties.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Matthew and I during the stream earlier were talking about this, that it's going to just blast through our area. Good, bad, whatever. I'm not saying you should like that, because it normally indicates that the storms are powerful. But it means that the window of opportunity for problems is a little bit narrower. We said about 3 hours. I think when it's all said and done, it'll be that. But we still have for Madison, Indiana. Let's do that tour, Matthew. Let's go from the north and move our way down south and talk about who, because I know if you're in Carrollton, you're like, Mark, are you just going to forget about me? I mean, I still have a severe with tornado possible, right? Yeah, you do. So you can see this going past Carrollton would be Carroll County, Gallatin, Grant, and Owen until 1:15.
Now this is from the National Weather Service up in Wilmington.
And what do you notice different about it, because it's coming from Wilmington?
They don't have tornado possible.
I knew you were thinking the way I was thinking. So the Weather Service in Louisville, as this occurred, said that they were going to issue tornado possible on every single warning. The National Weather Service in Cincy has not done that. So Carroll County, yes, you're dealing with potential for 60-mile-an-hour winds. The tornado possible tag is not there. Could one occur? It's not impossible. But we're looking at some pops here of some strong winds that are coming into.
I'll throw that back on for you.
Yeah, thank you. And this is going right into Carrollton right now. I think we're probably talking 50 to 60. I think that it does show a little bit of signs of maybe being a little bit weaker than it was. But there is still some inflow on the back edge of this that's showing some pops there. Aloft that may be higher than 60, but ground levels probably 50 to 60. Let's continue the track further south as we go. That's Bedford. So this is Trimble County right here. This is near Eminence, Newcastle, and Jericho right now. So this is one area where the line breaks a little. Matthew, let's put on velocity. I just want to make sure within this area. And Rick, I want you to look at this area as well. I'm not seeing anything that shows hard in terms of rotation here. What I am seeing is maybe a pop of stronger winds here that are about to hit Eminence. I know that those are probably showing 80, but that's probably at 3,800 feet. Rick, south of Eminence, what are we at?
That one would be 5,100.
51, I was off. So this is a mile.
That's high.
And those are 80s, I assume, the orange is there, 80, 70, 80 knot?
Those are 75.
Okay, so we're talking about 83, and you're like, 83 super strong, yeah, but it's a mile above the ground. We showed you that in our video earlier, that the winds a mile above the ground are 80 miles an hour. What gets down to the ground, so if you do a conversion on this, if we were to really do it under perfect conditions, you can get maybe a loss of 20%, but we're at night right now, and the ability something like that's going to be a little more challenging. But you can see that this is the warning further south. I assume you're trying to get in there really tight.
But it's
not going to play nice with you.
Yeah.
Rick, can you give us that info on the warning right now you've got on the analyst?
Yeah.
What do you have out of the Shelby into Henry County on that? I assume that's going to be 70s?
That warning?
Yeah.
That's for 60s.
Okay, good. So that's 60s heading towards Monterey. Again, this now is past eminence, so Newcastle, Jericho. Want to be real clear. I have friends in the Goshen area. You're good. The worst is past you. Prospect, you're good. Worst is past you. LaGrange, you're good. We're more off onto the eastern part of the county. Let's make our move further south. This is now breached. So this has breached our viewing area. This is past Taylorsville, Spencer County. I'm not going to ignore Lawrenceburg because I know that Lawrenceburg, actually some people in Lawrenceburg still do get us. I believe this is a 70-mile-an-hour warning with tornado possible still.
Yeah, that should be the one. Let me throw it up for you.
I mean, and it makes sense. It really does.
Yeah.
There we go. So considerable. The tag considerable is attached to the 70. Tornado possible here. We're watching the area. If we've got rotation, let's go back to that velocity. The velocity is one scan behind, so this is now over Lawrenceburg. But we've got some of these little pops here that may show some hints of rotation, but I do think 60 to 70 are the biggest threat if you're in Anderson County. Let's continue the trek further south. Severe thunderstorm warning continues here near Springfield and Willisburg. It is past Springfield right now, but it is right in the eastern part of the county. Matthew, let's go over to velocity here and see. Yeah, you know what? That actually, the strongest winds are near 62. That's going to be north of Springfield and Willisburg, so I think you're in pretty good shape here.
Yeah, I do want to point out the severe thunderstorm warning, how it's shaped, how this is issued. Obviously, this is a big Boeing segment stretching from Henry County all the way down there into Washington.
And you're calling this a Boeing segment, Matthew. What does that mean? I mean, that may, you may think, it looks like a bow and arrow, so that's a bow. And let me just be clear, Rick is the expert when it comes to bow and arrows, but
I wouldn't call me an expert. I'm an amateur, but I'm dabbling in it.
And Rick, let's just say, is the most accident-prone member of our weather team. Would that be factual as well?
Matthew's a close second.
I'm coming for his spot.
He's coming for my spot, but yes. Listen, I watched Rambo, and I could not help myself.
Is this what happened? Is this the real story? You watched Rambo and you bought a bow and arrow.
That's my dad and I's favorite movie, and then one night I was like, I'm getting one, and I got it. And so I'm practicing. So I'm not good.
I would be just very clear. If you know the part of town Rick lives in, I would just avoid that in this phase of his life right now. But Matthew, that does look like a bow.
Yeah.
And that tells us something about what's going on there.
That is going to be usually the strongest portion of the line of storms. It's pushing out ahead of the rest of it. It probably has the fastest moving winds, which is why it's tagged at 70, while the other portions of the line of storm are tagged at 60-mile-per-hour winds. So, yes, from Frankfurt through Lawrenceburg now, and again, these are moving fast. It's already blown through Willisburg. 70-mile-per-hour winds possible along that leading edge. You go a little bit further south of it, Lebanon and Marion County down into Taylor. Campbellsville not included in that severe thunderstorm warning, but just south and southeast of you, yes, there is a severe thunderstorm warning. This one for, drum roll please, 60-mile-per-hour winds. Again, not the Boeing segment, so doesn't have the fastest winds.
And Rick, I'm going to wrap you here in a minute or two, as I do believe that the tornado threat is subsiding substantially.
And I kind of thought that those storms, the further east they got it, then the weaker they should become.
This was an interesting one, really, and I think we can all reflect back on this one because we've now dealt with several here. This is what we call a strongly forced line. There was also just a little bit of directional wind shear. We saw this scenario where if you turn the winds a little bit up in the atmosphere, you now have some resistance towards no fuel or low fuel. We see strongly forced, which what does that even mean? It means that the front is pushing that air up crazy. It means you have a powerful upper level low that's pushing that air up crazy. Normally that's what fuel does. Because that low was so powerful, it had the ability to overcome some weaknesses in the field. And look, this is the most significant severe we have seen so far. In 2026, this is not going to be the most significant severe weather we see. in 2026. And I think this is a good opportunity, reminder, practice run. We know that we have some damage. We specifically know of some roof damage. I did get a report out of Grayson County that there may be a roof that or damaged or removed from a bank. So we know that we have had some damage.
Number of trees down in Floyd County.
But this is a reminder, this is spring. This is when this gets going. March is not the end, this is the beginning. And we all know, in my team, anytime it gets cold, we're happy because we know that we can rest for a little while, but you'll see all of us. There's going to be some of these nights at 2 a.m. where Rick and I or Matthew are shaking Jude's hand when he comes into work, and then we're walking out as quickly as we can. But yeah, I mean, there's going to be some long days for us and long days for you, because this is what we do in the Ohio Valley. This is storm season. Welcome to storm season 2026. The other couple did not produce a whole lot. This has been the first game.
This is kind of the intro, huh?
Yeah, we're in it. We are in it. Fortunately, I got some time to recover my voice a little bit. It's starting to get a little bit raspy, though.
Don't do that again. Keep the tea.
You were here the day that it went real bad, right?
Yeah. I had to take over for you that day. But you know what? That's what we do around here. And Mark, Rick, both here on their days off to help me with this coverage. Fortunately, with all of the tornado warnings we had, we still don't have confirmation that anything did touch down. There was the one sighting from the fire chief down in Green County. He said that he saw it near Caneyville. So we're going to see, National Weather Service tomorrow will go out. If they get reports of damage from where that sighting was, they'll go out and see if a tornado actually touched down. We didn't see debris lofted on radar. We didn't see a super tight and bright area of circulation down there. So to us, when we're looking at it as meteorologists, we go, man, I mean, it could be a report, could have been a funnel, but we don't have confirmation. At least
it's
not
also
radar
at night,
confirmation.
So it's, daylight sheds a lot.
Can be really hard. Could have been a scud cloud that was seen on that camera down there.
Mistaken for that, yeah.
Yes. So we don't know exactly what happened down in that area. That'll be one that the National Weather Service tomorrow may do a survey on if there's any damage down there. We may have, again, we talked about how tornadoes were definitely the lower end threat. It was primarily winds. We saw power outages in Louisville, power flashes. Lots of places have power outages throughout the day before the storms ever got here.
I would say the only two counties to still keep an eye on would be Carroll and Adair County.
Yeah, and the Adair is partially because it hadn't been touched much.
Yeah.
But it's also coming so late.
Oh, yeah, which means the fuel is even less.
And I think that's good here. There's also those signs that we see of squall line decay that's occurring from Lebanon through Campbellsville. But Rick's right. I mean, Matthew and I are probably not going to leave here. Rick, by the way, wrap it up for you, my friend. Thank you for coming in. Yes, thank you for coming in and helping.
Absolutely.
And head home, get some rest, my friend. What Matthew and I are going to do here is we close the coverage out here through the night, and we're not done yet. We told you that we're going to watch the storms through. At this point right now, my logic is it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I assume you're probably not tuning in to watch some program at 1 o'clock in the morning. So what we want to do is just make
good infomercials.
Is that what's on now?
I'm just kidding. I don't know.
So somebody just asked me in our stream, I'm in Carroll County, am I okay? So let's move this a little bit further to the north. And if you're wondering what I mean by that, you can always reach out to us. This stream that we're doing in this coverage right now is also going onto my Facebook page, Matthew's Facebook page, WDRB News. If you wanted to watch us on YouTube right now, you would be able to. The WDRB Plus app, the WDRB News app, and Carroll County right now.
They did just add a tornado possible tag to it.
They did add that. Yeah, that's the one that we thought
they wouldn't.
Because the Weather Service, Cincy, had not promised that, but they made that change. But here's the thing, though. The specific question was Carroll County. Let's go ahead and, that you read my mind. So the core of the strongest winds are now near Vivi. Carroll County, if you're trying to go to bed, give me another 6 or 8 minutes, and then I would say wrap things up. So we're now breaching our northeast counties. So this means we've left Jennings County, Indiana. Once we breach Carroll County and Shelby County, now we have cleared our northeast counties. We still have to clear Henry County. That one arguably probably could be cleared and released, and then it's just going to be in the Adair County warning that would be left within our area.
Shelbyville, Shelby County, you guys are good. for the rest of the night, it's out of your area. I know you still have a severe thunderstorm warning there, and it says 70-mile-per-hour winds possible. You're done. You've just got the lightning, the stratiform rain.
And I want to see out of Louisville, because I'm kind of curious here if we can catch any of that spider lightning there, because it is indeed possible for us to get some of this. So I'm going to just move this up vertically a little bit. But what would happen here is if we can capture one of these lightning strikes, they're not easy to do. What would happen is you would see an initial burst, and then the lightning would basically crawl across the entire base of the sky. When you see spiderweb lightning for the first time, it's definitely jarring, because I mean, you know how lightning is. It's this hard hit that shoots down to the ground. Spiderweb lightning almost looks kind of like it's in slow motion as it just walks across the base of the sky. Sometimes we call it walking lightning, but it's a very different style of view when it occurs. And of course, that's what it looks like with a little rain on the camera and a little bit of a breeze there. All right, literally there's no spiderweb lightning showing up right now. I'm leaving.
Lame.
So you can see we continue. And also, I think this is also telling, Matthew. The Weather Service, Storms Prediction Center, has now started to ease from the yellow, which is the tornado watch, into the blue, which is the severe thunderstorm watch. And remember, tornado watch doesn't guarantee tornadoes, but what it says is that the conditions are favorable for the development. Notice the choice now to go to severe thunderstorm watch means that they are now leaning more towards the atmosphere not being as favorable for tornadoes, but being more favorable for damaging wind gusts, which I think we are in agreement that that's kind of where we're going with this at this point as we continue our movement forward. Storms are now still in Willisburg and Springfield, but Matthew, the core of that, the strongest is probably on the front side near Salvisa to Harrodsburg.
I would say you're absolutely right, which they just, as you were saying that, cut back that severe thunderstorm warning significantly. Okay. So they took out those that were included previously in Spencer County, that far eastern edge. See you, Rick. Have a good one, my brother. Nelson County and Washington as well. They've taken out a lot of places that were included that. And also up there in Shelby County, south of 64 was included in it. You're out of that severe thunderstorm warning. Waiting for them to cut back on the severe thunderstorm warning.
Yeah, just so we can clear. I mean, really,
for Shelby County.
To be able to go to bed.
Yes, so they're going to be doing that soon. Up there along 71, northeast of LaGrange, Newcastle area, south of Carrollton. That one will expire here really soon. Let me see, that severe thunderstorm warning goes for...
Which one are we on?
The very small one right here.
Okay, so we're talking in parts of Henry County, the little fella there.
Yeah.
12:46 is when it
says it goes
issued.
until 1, so it's got 7 more minutes, but...
We'll basically feel that we're probably going to be able to clear most of these warnings at 1 a.m. for our northern side. And then what will be left is for the extreme southern part. And what we'll do at that point is once we get the severe thunderstorm warnings cleared on the north, we'll get a last couple of scans here. We probably have another 8 to 10 minutes. And if it looks like the tornado threat is minimal out of the Adair County area is when we would end coverage. So just letting production know and master control here. If at 1 a.m. almost all of these warnings are allowed to expire and we don't see a pressing issue for imminent tornado, then we would return back to programming. And Matthew,
would we stay on streaming? Is that something that you would consider?
If you wanted to, sure. For
Southern Kentucky.
Yeah. So the only thing, you know me, the thing that I've got to be careful is that I don't want to lose my voice
I get
again.
It. You can let me do most of the talking. I'm cool with that.
With that said, you're looking at the Adair County storm, and let's stay down there. It's not in Adair County yet. It will be in probably 12 minutes. But really, that it shows some little wiggles and waves. But one of the things I note here, Matthew, is the magnitude of wind doesn't appear to be the magnitude of wind that was on the northern side of the line. I'm going to argue this, that when that bow formed, it probably generated a little mid-level disturbance that we call an MCV that probably enhanced some of that rotate ability. This is well displaced from the bow, and it's in the far southern part of Kentucky, so we may not be able to maximize that rotation potential in that area.
I think that's a great point. And oftentimes, we see areas of rotation down here. We joke about Adair County behind the scenes sometimes. It's like, man, If we didn't have Adair County, we'd be out of here a lot earlier in the night when these events roll through. But we're always waiting for that last portion of the line of storms. It just kind of lingers a little bit longer for you guys, tends to. And sometimes we see these little blips on the radar and on velocity of quick rotation, and we're like, oh, hey, hold on. Glad we didn't leave yet.
And that's why we'll continue.
And that's why we're going to be here, yes.
So we'll continue to monitor, and as I said, we've got another 5 to 6 minutes to assess whether we feel that we're in a pressing issue. The Weather Service is going to have tour possible on everything because they decided that before the night even started. Actually, let me rephrase that. They started that when the night started.
Yes, when the first storms started coming in.
So Jefferson County, does that include a pinch of it?
No. Oh, you're talking Jefferson County, Indiana?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we need to clear that one. Let's get a sense. I'm going to just pass through here real quickly because I want to look at the timing on these just so we know exactly what we're talking about. So the northern one, the one that's in effect here for Switzerland, Carroll, Grant, Owen County, that one was issued earlier. This one is in effect until 1:15. So once that one it only includes a fringe of Madison County, or Jefferson County, Indiana. I don't know if the Weather Service, Cincy, will be proactive in clearing that one. We will see. Sometimes they are not.
I think that Carroll County will still be under it through 1:15. Well, there's that latest scan. So yeah, the eastern edge.
That's fair. That's fair. So that may take us to 1:15. I would like to get that out of the area. Further south of that, Shelby County is until 1 a.m. We have some people in the stream that have been asking us about Frankfort. So Frankfort's warning will last until 1 a.m. Frankfort, I will tell you that the core has gone by you, but if you're looking to go to bed, give me 8 minutes.
If you're east of Frankfort, Georgetown area, maybe you're watching Lexington.
Too.
You know, you got 70-mile-per-hour gusts potentially heading your way with that latest. Let's see, they just put out a new severe thunderstorm warning. They've dropped it from 70 to 60 with that latest one.
Making sense. The warning stays in effect here. Further south until 1 a.m. That one includes near the Springfield area. And then all we have left from that would be what is now moving through Greensburg and Columbia, and that warning that is out there stays in effect until 1:15. I'll tell you what, let's carry this until 1:15 at this point. We'll get those
severe thunderstorm warning.
Yeah, that way we can get this halfway through Adair County and we can make our decisions, and that should allow us to clear all of our counties. So master and production, just FYI guys, we're going to go through 1:15. Again, for those asking out of Frankfort, and we've had several ask, give me another 6 minutes, and I would give you full all clear. But the warning will expire at 1. I just want to make sure that we don't end up with any pushes on the back edge. That is a little bit more interesting now near Edmonton. That
yes,
has surged a little.
So you're starting to see a little notch right there. So, and a little bit of a push out on the southern side, or well, east of Edmonton now. So winds coming in from Columbia toward Edmonton. South of Edmonton, the winds are going from west to east. So east, west, north, west, east, south of Edmonton, and just east of you all there, heading into western and southwestern Adair County. Tiny little area of rotation starting to form. Let me bring up velocity.
And I'm
you see it right there.
Analyst real quickly on that one.
You see it right there.
Yeah, now that makes more sense. If we were in this situation anyways, I wouldn't leave that right now. There is a little bit of rotation there. It's not huge, but it's moving through Edmonton. So we're talking about 9 to 10 minutes from Gradyville, about 12 to 14 minutes from Columbia.
Nell, Breeding, 78 there in southern Adair County, Gradyville, like you said, and Chance. Those will be some spots that this small area of rotation is going to be moving over. I'm not saying you have to get into your safe place, but if we see another scan come up and it tightens up, I'd say it's a good idea to go ahead and get there.
Yeah, and it does have tornado possible. A lot of these have. That has been the way this has gone here tonight. You know, you and I started this early in the day. I always kind of find that it's interesting when we have an opportunity to look back, talk about what we saw, what we thought we would see, what's really ended up happening. The one that happened, I think it was last Wednesday, where the morning had severe. We paused, and then the afternoon we got cut off by the storms to the south. What made this one different is this was a single lone cluster. There was no severe the day before to our west that had to come across our area. When you and I were looking at this, we knew that that back line was probably going to be for a period affected as it was coming across the Illinois-Kentucky line, and then that rear line would overtake and probably would enhance the severe once it overtook. And that's exactly what happened. This one is one that really unfolded virtually as we thought would occur. There's been multiple tornado warnings. We knew we would get a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings. During the stream, I said I wouldn't be surprised if more than half of our area went under warnings.
Yep,
and
definitely has.
We'll probably end up with 80% when it's said and done. I'm trying to, I don't even, maybe 100%. I don't know if there has been a county that hasn't seen a warning today.
I think parts of Greene and Taylor have not. So we're probably in easily the 80 to 90% range.
And by the way, here is where we currently stand with our watches and warnings. So we have now cleared the warnings from all but Carroll.
The far eastern edge of it, Carson is included.
And what happens is the Weather Service in Louisville is pretty proactive about clearing warnings. It does sometimes take a little bit longer from the National Weather Service, Cincy, but the warning's still in effect at 1:15 for Greene and Adair County. My sense is they're going to probably issue downstream on this one as well and run it across the rest of...
We just got a latest scan in. Let's check and see that velocity.
Maybe not as much, but still some. There's still some twists there. There's still some notches, some ripples. You know, that notable inflow notch. It may be getting contaminated by that rain near Glens Fork that's getting pulled in ahead of it. So that may be one thing that's helping out a little bit. Let me show you what Matthew has, by the way, on radar right now.
There you go. So again, heading toward Gradyville, and you see, as Mark was mentioning here, there's some rain down here near Glens Fork, maybe contaminating the inflow into the storm, which is good news. We always like to be able to give good news. But yeah, it's still got this bit of a turn to it. Bit of a turn like that we're watching. It's a signature that we look for, but it's not brilliant. In fact, I'm gonna throw this back on here, and then I'm gonna bring up velocity for you. Draw that again. That's exactly what I was just talking about. It goes like that. So winds that are going this direction, and then winds that are coming back into the storm like that. So that's that is the area of rotation that we're watching directly over Nell, northwest of Breeding, heading toward Gradyville or just south of you. Columbia, it'll be heading up towards you here really soon. That's the spot that we're watching for some rotation. It's not intense.
And it is probably going to, because there is some contamination on the front side of it, it probably can only last for a scan or two more.
Yeah.
So if...
And it's well off the ground. This is really high up in the air.
But it is worth noting that we're not talking about long trackers in this scenario.
No.
If there was to be a tornado, it would do similar damage that we would get from stronger straight line winds. That's not to minimize or tell you don't take it seriously, but just to be transparent, this is not a long tracker scenario. I think dominantly damaging winds, if it was to occur in Adair County, would be the main threat. But that said, yeah, obviously we'll watch. From scan to scan to scan has been very, very important tonight. These are cooking off to the east at 75 miles an hour. I mean, you know, we on our shift we see each other quite a bit. Matthew and I, Rick and I, 75 mile an hour wind, 75 mile an hour.
Mother of pearl.
What do we have?
They bumped it to 85 mile per hour.
This is elite. Storm moving at 85 miles an hour is on the upper echelon of storm speed. It's almost unheard of here. You're almost in triple digits. I can't even remember in 85. 75s definitely do happen here. They really do. Yeah. But when we breach 80, not wind speeds.
Right. This
is Matthew running. This is if Matthew was running at full speed. If he was driving, he would have to go 85 miles an hour to keep up with the storm.
That's crazy to think about. They just put out a tornado warning on that spot that we were circled.
So we are glad that we stayed here. Number one, if you're in Adair County, you are now under a tornado warning here. I'm going to head over to the wall as we spend our time with this one. The night is not done yet. I think that this is transient, but the fact that it continues to occur I think the Weather Service feels, and Adair County is somewhat of a challenge because it is in an area where radar coverage is not as good as some of the other locations. But look, here's the thing. This is right along the Cumberland. So this is a heavily traveled area. So we have got to be really, really careful. This is the Cumberland Parkway right now, north of Nell. The area of rotation is in Gradyville. So I need you to take your tornado safety precautions in Gradyville right now. This means you need to get downstairs, you need to get underneath something, you need to be in the center part of your house, and I need you to keep away from windows. Columbia, Matthew, let's do the track on this.
That's about as far as I can go. It gets it to 79.
So 5 minutes from now in Bliss. Columbia, 7 minutes. So you've got to be in your safe spot now. 12 minutes in the Christine area, and it's out of county in 16 minutes. So this is rocket ship level moving off to the east. If you're in Columbia, we've got you. Go to your tornado safety location right now, your shelter, whether it's downstairs. If you can get into the basement, always a good place to be. Center part of the house. Need you to keep away from windows. This is where we stand at 105 this morning. We've been on an extended scenario here. We've been covering severe weather for quite some time. Matthew, you identified this 2 scans ago, which covered some serious real estate in that time where we had that inflow notch develop. There is some contamination occurring right now where there's rain in front of this, but we have seen resilience in a lot of these storms tonight, and partly because this is powerfully forced with what's occurring in the upstairs.
I don't see anything on correlation coefficient right off the rip. That's good.
Good news.
You know, just to say, I mean, how fast these are moving. You say that it was ripping into Adair County. Like if this storm were literally driving on Cumberland Parkway, it would be pulled over and ticketed. That's how fast it's going at 85 miles per hour.
Which also means that it's incredibly difficult. Like this isn't a storm you're going to out drive.
Right.
You cannot. Interesting note here, by the way, Matthew, when the storms came through Louisville, in the Cementville area in Clark County. So this occurred here at around 12:30. It seems odd that it occurred at that time.
Maybe it was reported then. I don't know.
Okay, either way, a semi flipped along I-265 in southern Indiana. So the semi flipped and it's blocking the westbound lanes of I-265 in southern Indiana. So just be aware if you're in the Cementville area in Clark County. If you're in Louisville and you have to go across the East End Bridge to get to work, just be aware that there is a semi blocking the westbound lanes of I-265 in southern Indiana. So Matthew, we now have that rotation area that is very, very close, if not on top of Gradyville. This is a little bit different than we normally would do because we can't just look at where the rotation is, because it's moving so fast.
The next scan that comes in will probably have it basically over there's the next one.
It's going to be
almost to Flatwood.
So it's already now breached Gradyville. Now we're talking 3 to 4 minutes here from getting into the Columbia area. So if you're in Columbia, now is the time to take your tornado safety precautions. My opinion is don't wait. This is
Let's
rapidly.
See the speed on this. They may have dropped it with the warning when it came out instead of 85.
That's interesting.
Okay, yeah, they've dropped it to 50.
That's
pretty
interesting.
Yeah, I am a little confused by that. Maybe they just haven't changed the.
I'm going to look back at the other warning.
The initial.
It was moving at 80. How did it slow down by 30 miles? Maybe it did. Maybe it saw the flashing lights.
Yeah, in its rearview mirror and
it slowed on down. But here's the thing: 50 miles an hour puts it in Columbia. So I'm going to make a change on the time then.
Instead of 3 to 4.
Let's give it 6.
Yeah.
So 6 minutes from now, it'll be in the Columbia area. I need you in your tornado safe location right now. Tornado safe location right now. We're getting still a lot of reports here from scattered in a lot of locations in our area that there are power outages that have occurred. I just want to update out of Louisville briefly. Wow, so it has gone up.
4,000.
So that's up 1,100, 1,200 since the last time we looked. So Louisville, if you're in the dark right now, Matthew gave you real good advice earlier, and I'm going to tell you, take it every time. If you know there could be severe, charge your electronic devices. I'll tell you something, you may not know this, Matthew, so I kind of, I do a lot of my telescope stuff. So some of the telescope gear I have to protect against a power failure, because let's just say the power went out and the telescope still tried to continue to move, or the computer lost power or something, or locked up. It could cause the telescope to crash into the pier. So we use UPS power supplies, and I don't know if you knew this, you can get these at Costco for like $125, but you plug them into the wall, and this would, if you were using it for your electronic devices, it would get you easily all night long and into the next day with power. Not expensive to get one of these things. A lot of people
got to have that Costco membership.
Well, you can get them, like you can go on Amazon, but these small things though are nice. We lose power. Yeah, it happens frequently during our storm season. It'd be nice to just kind of know you don't have to worry about it. 2 to 3 minutes from now, storm's going to be in the Columbia area. Matthew's on top of that. Matthew, that is the latest scan, but this is moving quickly, so this is likely in Columbia right now. By the way, I am on X right now. If you are in the Columbia area, please let me know if you can jump in there. If you've seen any damage, what you're seeing, we would love to hear from you. Your reports, our eyes on the ground, and if you can safely let us know what's going on, we would appreciate that. There is rotation going over the Columbia area on the current, on the right now. We have not seen anything that would indicate debris. But I think we can say this much based on what's occurred tonight. 60-mile-an-hour winds are probably occurring on your best case.
I'd say that is very likely. This goes until 12:45 Central Time, so we've got another 35 minutes on this warning as it moves through Adair County. If it were moving a little bit faster, this warning would be expiring a little bit faster for us. You know, sometimes they put it for 40, 45 minutes, and then they expired after 30. That could be the case here, but we'll be on it until it ends. So taking us almost all the way to 2 a.m. for this singular storm. Everyone else, I'm going to zoom out. Everyone else.
Yeah, it was 111, so that is it gone?
It's
fringing, it's still fringing at
Carson
Carroll
and Sanders up there in Carroll County, and that's it.
But the core is now well east. It's past Warsaw, past the Kentucky Speedway.
So we'll give you the all clear in Carroll County. Yeah, you've still got some moderate rain and rumbles of thunder and lightning, and that's it. Really, our main focus from here on out is going to be southern Kentucky. So for the folks that are anywhere north, if you are in Greene, Taylor, and Adair counties, you're our focus from here. Everyone else, and I'll just zoom out, everyone else
in
our viewing area, go to bed. Don't worry about it. You don't have to watch us. We'd love for you to stick around just to hang out if you wanted.
Yeah.
But if you've got storm anxiety and you're worried and you say, hey, I'm in Hart County, nope, go to bed. Don't worry about it. If you're, in fact, even if you're north of 68, in Taylor and Greene counties, go to bed. You don't have a severe threat anymore. If you're in Marion, your severe weather threat, it's over as well. Up there in Washington, your severe weather threat is over.
Nice to get some rain out of this, too. That's another nice thing here. We're moving into spring. We did have some moderate drought in the northern part of our area. So this is on Columbia right now. If you're in Columbia, let me just, again, be very clear. If you're listening to us, you need to be doing that from your tornado safe location. You should not be right now, standing outside with your phone, trying to get video of something that could or could not throw debris at you. I say this coming from a guy that's a storm chaser. I grew up as somebody that was fascinated with storms my whole life. At the same time, I have no desire to get hurt by these things. It would be a boneheaded thing for me to do. Anytime that I chase, anybody that's ever chased with me knows that I take my safety very, very, very seriously in all this. So right now in Columbia, the worst part of the storm is over you. You've got about 90 seconds to about 120 seconds before this goes by. So keep in your tornado shelter here for, let's say, about 5 more minutes and let this fully get by you. What's interesting to note here, Matthew, is there's an area of rotation near Columbia, and arguably south of Columbia, there may be a secondary area of rotation just to the northeast by 3 miles of the Joppa area, or about 4 miles north of Glens Fork. So this may have developed 2 areas of rotation. Not that uncommon necessarily in this scenario, but let's go back to reflectivity because I just want to see if this is a more of that line there. Yeah, so it is. It's just developing some small, subtle areas of rotation within that line. If you're in Columbia right now, you've got to be in your tornado safe spot. The tornado warning is in effect until 12:45 Central or 1:45 Eastern. Either way, We're going to make it, we're going to get you through this, Columbia. We'll do it together. And one of the things, you know, you've been doing this a while too. Matthew, you've worked in areas, tornado-prone areas for both of your jobs. You hear this a lot. I live in blah, blah, blah. You only cover the most significant or biggest county in the area. We pride ourselves on not being that television station.
Right.
You matter. If you're in Columbia, if you're in Louisville, if you're in Greensburg, if you're in Litchfield, we care about you in Corydon.
Popcorn, Indiana, our farthest northwest city that we cover.
So we are going to watch all the areas. And once this gets out of Adair County is when we're going to return to programming. It doesn't look like we're going to need Jude to come in early, which is really nice. He would be tired. Matthew is off tomorrow, aren't you?
I am.
So you get to enjoy a little recovery time and
changing my neighbor's oil potentially. Actually,
Are you really?
I think we're probably going to move that to Friday. It'll be so cold tomorrow unless we do it in the garage.
Dude, that's the best day to do it because then you don't have to worry about. I actually enjoy doing it on the cold days.
Really?
Yeah, because you just throw a blanket down. So the area rotation is now approaching Christine. So the Cumberland Parkway, it is.
You want me to put a track on that?
Yeah, and honestly, there's two areas is the oddity of this. So I'm going to check to make sure we're still at 5-0 on that speed, by the way.
Should be. Let's see. If
we are still at 5-0 on the speed.
Okay. So here you go. For the southern one, I'll take off this northern one here.
By the way, somebody clarified on I-265 that it was a garbage truck that flipped, not a semi. I find that more interesting.
It's heavy.
Exactly. Flipping a garbage truck with winds?
That's tough. I don't know. Maybe they hit some water or something. I don't know.
I know that is a very heavy vehicle. So
Okay,
you've done some tracks on both
areas. We got a new scan, and let me reissue that for you here.
It looks like the Columbia portion may be weakening a little bit, and that southern area looks a little better now. That's near Joppa, heading towards the Craycraft area.
Let's go the one near, or just northeast of Columbia first.
Okay.
Christine, 5 minutes. Purdy, 6. Ella, 9 minutes. Eunice, 11. Barnett Springs, that may be outside. Yeah, that's outside of our area. I think it's 16 minutes. And Dunville, again, outside of our area, just under 20 minutes. Now we'll go to the one that's a little further south. And I'll reissue one of these tracks on here. Joppa region. I mean, it's basically on top of you. In fact, just northwest of you. Crossing over the Cumberland Parkway within the next couple of minutes, and in Craycroft within 4. Ella, again, you're included in this one. 11 minutes, Sycamore Flat, 16, and then you get to Dunville in 21. So some of these spots are actually could be impacted by both of these areas of rotation just based on the way that this track is issued. The National Weather Service has cut Gradyville, Sparksville, a lot of folks west of Columbia, Milltown, cut you guys out of that tornado warning now, which is good. They're being proactive with it.
And that is the only game that's left in town. By the way, somebody just messaged me out of the Columbia area. They are in their tornado safe spot right now in the basement. He said that he has not heard anything that sounds like a tornado or it's seen anything damage-wise yet. So that's helpful. It doesn't mean that one has or has not occurred. On the ground's always going to help. Craycraft has an area. Christine has an area. We're watching that translate off to the east. Been one of the more persistent here for the last little bit.
Yeah, it's picked up just a touch with the red and the green, a little closer together, a little bit brighter. But again, this is, how far off the ground are we talking here, Mark?
We're 55 at least.
Yeah.
At least, I'm going to guess we're closer to 6 or 7.
Oh my, well, this says 8,000.
Yeah, I mean, we're way up in the atmosphere.
So
you're
not getting a pure view of the storm. We want to be able to see the lowest levels somewhere around 1,500 or less. Oftentimes when we're looking at least 3,000 or less when we're looking at rotation. When you're talking double that, more than a mile off the ground, it's really hard to be able to say that this rotation is making it down to the surface. So,
and you're probably still hearing some thunder and lightning here in Louisville. We're hearing it at the station here. Don't worry, it's not generating any severe weather. There's not even strong winds left. The winds are going to go to the northwest. They will be post-frontal winds. They will bring in the much colder that arrives in tomorrow. And this is going to sound weird to say. We've had many tornado warnings today, and tomorrow we will have snow squalls.
Yep.
High intensity snow squalls in the area with bursts. And yeah, welcome to the Ohio Valley. Just a reminder of what we live with here in this area. 12:45 is when the tornado warning expires, or 1:45 Eastern. We're continuing to watch these things. This is for Christine. Craycraft is where we have the area rotation right now. I'll show you a view around our area. As you can see, it's definitely quieted down on a lot of our cameras. While watching Bardstown earlier, I was very glad to say that despite the fact that the winds were cranking, that we never saw the power flicker, which is good. This is the view of the Sherman Mitten here in New Albany. Cars driving nicely, quiet out there. Corridon, earlier our camera was frozen. Now, nope, I see flickering. Camera's back on here working in downtown Louisville. This is a view looking off to the east as things have quieted down monumentally. The only tornado warning we have in effect is for the eastern part of Adair County. Still a tornado watch from Jefferson County, Indiana, that arcs around all the way through Greene and then into Adair County. This is it, my friends. If you're staying with us, first, thank you for trusting us here in the middle of the night. For those of you that are not in Adair County, your severe weather risk has passed. But in Adair County, we're starting to get that appearance now of more outflow dominated. I'm going to come over to the analyst with you. You talked about that bow and arrow kind of thing. That is doing the bow and arrow.
Yep, as it's passed through the Garland region, and it's going to stay most likely south of Nifley. Nifley is included in this tornado warning. However, I think that the area of rotation is going to be south of you. In fact, the rotation is really starting to die off some. Where it was initially warned, it's looking more straight line. There are a couple little pixels closer together.
But the thing is if you look from the radar, though,
yeah,
it doesn't make sense necessarily because it almost would be downdraft style. I don't know. Maybe.
Reddy Tucker Road is where that's over right now. So if you're up in that area, maybe your Old Feast Road, Tucker Woods Road, you know, we're not saying you got to be in your safe place, but that's where it looked like. There are a couple little blips on the radar there. This is definitely not conclusive evidence of, hey, screaming on the tornado.
I'm curious on that one. Can you go back one scan on that one? I want to see if that could be contamination. Yeah, I don't. It'll be interesting to see what the next scan shows because the persistent rotation was east of Columbia near Garland. And that, I think that may be a little bit of some oddity occurring in those gates. It may be signal to noise ratio causing some errors in that area, but we'll see. The next scan will show. Still, we have a tornado warning here for another 25 minutes. If you're in the eastern part of Adair County, it is a good idea to take your tornado safety precautions, which means downstairs underneath something. Center part of the house is going to be the safest part of your house, and always keep away from windows. There's nothing good that happens when you're near windows, whether it's a severe thunderstorm warning or whether it is a tornado warning. The wider perspective and view shows some things are changing. There are two things. The northern part of the line is losing a lot of the warnings. There is still a location in southeast Kentucky that is untouched air. It is possible, being a little further south, that air may still be able to support severe. And Matthew, the two warnings that are tornado warned are in the southern part of Kentucky along the Broken Line.
Yes, where we had not seen storms initially. So in our western counties, we actually got a couple of different rounds that moved through. And the first one came through, ate up some energy, stuff started entering and overcame that initial line, and things ramped up pretty quickly. Our southern counties, though, it's as soon as the storms are getting to you, they still got untouched air. Not a lot of energy, but untouched. And it does look like that it has been able to spark off some severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings for folks down further south of our region, Albany, south of Burkesville as well, east of Tompkinsville. Monticello, you guys aren't included in it. However, there is a tornado warning down in that direction. Jamestown, Cundiff, those spots sitting with a severe thunderstorm warning for 70-mile-per-hour gusts. This storm moving at 60 miles per hour. And again, our singular tornado warning, let me zoom into it for you here. Our singular tornado warning is in Adair County.
I know it is getting close to the edge of the county.
Yes, I know that Columbia is included in the tornado warning, but you are not under threat any longer. You'll be cut out of this warning either within the next few minutes, or they're just going to allow you to sit in it until the tornado warning comes to an end in 21 minutes from now. Ella, it is on top of you. Dunbar, the storm is on top of you. Where's the rotation? Let's try and find it. I think that the rotation, if there is any, it's going to be south of Ella where and south of Eunice, where 76 and 206 join and intersect with each other there. So it's going to be south of you, probably closer to Sano, just outside of Adair County. That's where we're watching the rotation. I could circle it for you guys.
And for
here.
what it's worth, the Weather Service has moved out of sales mode on radar, so it means it's going to take longer time now
to get additional scans.
Yeah, so it may be east of Ella right now. In fact, I would argue it probably is. We can translate it at 50 miles an hour, covers about a mile a minute or so. So since we got the last scan, we're probably talking about 6 minutes. So it's moved 6 minutes. It's probably now approaching the Peloton area, maybe around 3 or 4 minutes from now getting towards there. So these are things that are going to occur as we evolve, transition. We're within probably 10 or 15 minutes from ending our severe weather coverage for the night. You know, here's the thing. I've said this to you all night long. You guys and I, we've worked together for a long time. I've been in this area covering severe weather since 2004. And I have said to you with words and hopefully shown you with action that if you're in our most populous or least populous county, we are going to cover you. So the new scan that just came in sadly has a range arc in it. So you can actually see the range arc error that goes right through Adair County.
Point to that with the pointer.
So the range arc error is this. You'll notice it's circular around the radar.
Yeah.
It normally is a signal to noise issue that occurred at that location, but you can see it goes in a circle around the radar, so it is literally that distance from the radar and that height everywhere.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's the area that we needed. So
if you guys can't tell what he's talking about, again, it starts all the way up here near Stanford.
Yeah, there you go.
Dunville. This clear area here does not mean it's not raining and that there aren't winds.
Exactly.
It's just, it's a radar anomaly that happens.
I'll show you something here, by the way. So I'm going to ask you, I'm not going to tell, should it show up in reflectivity?
I'm going to say no.
So you're saying we should see it or we should not?
I'm saying that we won't see that. Yeah, there you go.
You are correct. So it's a signal to noise ratio issue. Back in my college days when I was, have I ever told you any of this? So I was in Albuquerque, New Mexico. My first.
I haven't heard this one.
Okay, so when I started to do research when it came to radar, I became involved in a research project studying microbursts and downdrafts. So these are straight line winds and thunderstorms. You know when you go to the airport, you see that orange radar spinning?
Yeah.
So that's called an ASR-9. In the late 90s, and I'm dating myself a little, MIT tried to develop a weather package to equip the ASR-9 radars to be able to detect microbursts and downdrafts. So I was the ground truth study, the ground truth for that study. I drove the mobile Doppler radar out there and sat by the airport every single day for 2 months looking for microbursts and downdrafts so that we could verify whether the package that was installed on the ASR-9s could actually, in fact, detect microbursts and downdrafts. The unfortunate thing is it did not work very well. But I spent way too much time staring at radar screens every single day. So
for 2 months,
I like to have some fun with these guys when it comes to radar, only because, like I said, I have stared at a radar screen for a lot of my life, Part of the reason why I did forensic meteorology for some time is because I gained quite a bit of expertise in the area. Yeah. But yeah, that's a story. So that issue there, that circular band you saw, what we would love is the next scan, which is 6 minutes, because unfortunately that rotation area has been clipped. Here's the thing I do think, though, that other little area where we had those pockets, I think that was an anomaly. I don't think that was real, because if you...
I think you're right. It pops up and then goes away, pops up, goes away.
Yeah, so... Yeah, I don't think that was real. I think that was a weird anomaly. Yeah, that thing was a weird anomaly north. But I don't think there's any rotation for what it's worth. I think that most of the rotation's gone. And I would say that if the Weather Service was very concerned about the rotation in the next 4 minutes, they're going to issue a new tornado warning, or they're going to issue a new severe thunderstorm or tornado possible, because it's going to breach the warning.
Right.
So the warning's not going to last till 1:45. The warning is going to last until probably 1:35.
Yeah.
Maybe 1:38. But they're going to have to make some decisions, and we'll get a sense. I'm going to message in on the chat and ask what their plan is for Adair County.
Good call.
just so we can get a sense of what they're thinking.
They've already, for the tornado warning that's off to the south, including Albany, they've already issued a downstream severe thunderstorm warning. So that's probably what they would be trending toward.
Oh, there we go. Did they do Torpot? They had to if it's Weather Service Louisville.
Yeah, if let me see. I don't know if that is.
By the way, the Weather Service has noted that they have finally now decided that they're not going to auto.
This is Jackson.
They're not going to auto tornado possible everything.
Okay.
So what is moving through Lexington, they measured 56-mile-an-hour wind gust. They removed the tornado possible tag from that. Did Jackson go tornado possible?
Nope, they did not.
They have tipped the hand. The hand is that the tornado warning. There it is. There's the new one. So
let's see. Waiting. Well, you know what?
Yeah, pop that on there. Let's see.
I'll just do this.
Both of us are kind of curious.
Well, they did leave tornado possible for Boyle, Casey, Garrard, and Lincoln.
So they're probably going to allow this to breach the county line and then pull the warning. When that happens, they may let it go to 145. They may not. We'll see what they decide. My argument would be is we're going to breach the county line within the next 6 minutes. We've got the downstream, and we could probably cancel. Weather Service has noted that they've seen my question, and we'll see what they decide on it. Big heads up, or big credit to them. They had a really good night. The Weather Service has had a really good night. They put appropriate warnings, appropriate verbiage, aggressive when necessary, tornado warnings where there was the concern areas. They have removed the watches and allowed people to go to sleep as necessary.
Downgraded warnings oftentimes. Yeah. We started off at 80 with one of those that was moving through Radcliffe and Vine Grove, and then they downgraded it to 70 before it got to Louisville, which was the right call.
And sometimes, you know, look, I'm critical about things that I agree with or disagree with sometimes, but I also think that on the flip side of that, there has to be credit where credit's due, and they've had a very good night in terms of how they have dealt with this event in our area. And we are a weather enterprise. We speak about this frequently, but we all function and work in a group and an organization. The goal and mission of everybody that does this is the safety of your life and your property. We don't want to talk on TV for a long time. I've been on TV now for a lot of years. I don't need to see my face or hear my voice extra. So, you know, we've covered what needed to be covered tonight. And so as the weather enterprise, it's very, very encouraging and good for us when from the Storms Prediction Center risk at day 3, day 2, day 1 was really good. The Weather Service really, really handled this well, and hopefully we have been able to communicate the risks to you in a way that was understandable and you could process and make good decisions for yourself. But this one, they did a really good job, and like I said, I just want to give them credit on that. In terms of the rotation, Matthew, while we still do have the signal-to-noise ratio error, I do think we can infer still by what we're seeing. Two things I will say is this is crossing the county line, and second, despite the fact that the signal-to-noise ratio error is still there, I don't think that there's rotation there at all anymore.
Is that range folding?
So it's not range folding actually, because range folding would only be if it was a very high level. Okay. So there is a signal to noise ratio, or an ND, that's occurring in that area, and that's why that is being kicked out. So radar, if there's a signal to noise ratio issue, meaning it's not getting enough signal, then it will kick it out. It will throw the data away, and that's why the purple is there on the analyst. So
interesting. Anyway, learn something new every day. I'd seen it before, but didn't know that it had a specific name on there. So
and the Weather Service looks like the beginnings of a break in that line. They're saying that there still is a couplet in that area.
In the range, well, they called it rangeful.
I would say that technically would not be. I'd say it's but nonetheless.
Out of Adair County in 5 minutes. So you had said maybe about 1:38. That's 5 minutes from now.
We'll be close. So we'll stay with it until that time comes.
Yeah.
And once that warning is allowed to expire or canceled, we will end that coverage. And for those of you that have followed us on Facebook, please let us know. So we did something a little bit different in terms of the coverage here starting 2026. You guys may have seen Matthew and I in our studio, so you may not even know what we're talking about. We do more streaming stuff now as well, not that it replaces TV. TV is what we do. But in the streaming space like Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, we have recognized that there is a high interest in there. And so what we did in 2026 is we decided that we were going to now air our severe weather coverage, our TV coverage. So what you're seeing right now, there we go. So we're out of that range folding. I'll come back to that in a second. But we decided that we're going to air the coverage that we show on TV, on our Facebook and our YouTube pages. So it just becomes another tool in the toolbox on whatever is easiest for you to use. That should be the norm here as we move forward. And looking at the area of rotation, is there some?
Little.
Yeah, but at 8,000 feet, if that was anything legit, I would kind of expect it to look a little stronger. It doesn't look like much.
Right.
Either way, it's on the county line right now, so we're within 4 minutes now from that breaching the county line and pulling away. There is some level of rotation there. South of Dunnville by 4 miles, there is not a lot. If you're in Columbia, let me know, by the way. I'm on X. That's an easy way where I can look and see what has occurred. By the way, Matthew, just getting some pictures here.
Window blown in.
That's Fort Knox. That was that area.
Yep, of the potentially 70 to 80 mile per hour
That's
winds.
when it went wild.
Yeah.
It looks like the window, you know how those windows, you can kind of pull them down?
To clean them out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It looks like debris may have either hit the window and pierced it, or the wind may have bent in the frame here a little bit. Either way, there is some damage, obviously, that occurred. My belief is most likely that was microburst. It was very strong.
Unless it was an RFD. Like, that would be the only, that lasts a little long. I don't know. I mean,
It's fair. It's fair.
Yeah.
It was strong, though.
New scan just came in on velocity, takes out what we suspect is what the National Weather Service is saying is that area of rotation. Looks like it takes it along 127 south of Dunnville, so out of Adair County at this point. You're still underneath a warning technically for the next 8.5 minutes. I think we have to legally stay on air until the warning goes away? Or is that a discretion?
No, because it's on the bottom of the screen. But that said, it is our weather department protocol. Okay. Until the warning expires, we're not going to let you guys go. And what I mean by that is we're not going to hang you out to dry and just leave you. So because the sirens are still going off.
This is true.
And
Looking
I don't
for information.
want to. You know how it is. I mean, if it's you and your family, and you hear the tornado sirens going off,
you want an answer.
You're not going to feel comfortable. So it has breached the county line. It does look like a new scan just came in too. What happens sometimes is the reflectivity, what you see there, your reds, your greens, comes in sometimes quicker than the velocity. The velocity can lag sometimes by 60 to 90 seconds during processing. Yep. So we'll see when we get that, but I do believe, I'm gonna go by you just to make sure. I want to see that county line.
This one's been lagging for quite a while now.
Is it?
Yeah.
You're right, it is acting weird. Okay, but it does appear that it is moved over the county line. I'm just gonna ask them if they're gonna hold it. A lot of people are saying, and they're also asking some of the media, by the way, about the Clinton County tornado warning, that it looks extremely high in the storm and what they're going to do. I would argue at this point we should remove the tornado warning for Adair County. I also speak to this as someone that serves only Adair County, and we don't go into counties beyond Adair, so my area of responsibility, and you are in my area of responsibility if you're in Adair County, is obviously loyalty towards you. So we think that the area of rotation is breached. It's near Decatur, near Dunnville. Remember the rotation here, the velocity lags just a pinch, but it's certainly out of the county. There it is. That's the new scan. That's passed. So I'm just gonna ask one more time.
Yeah, it looks like it has exited the warning in general at this point. So a little bit faster than what they were anticipating. It's totally fine by us. Get it out of here a little bit earlier.
Just out of curiosity, though, what's that rotation look like?
It's not crazy.
It's not crazy. They're 9,000 feet above the ground.
Yeah, just crossed over 127 south of Dunnville, north of Decatur.
One of the things I'll tell you is Adair County is one of our most difficult to deal with. When we get damage in Adair County, with radar signatures that are far weaker than some of the things that we see near Louisville. And partially, again, I'll note, is because the radar is looking very high in the storms. So you just don't get those very, very, very obvious signatures of severe. And also, it's a rural county, so you know, sometimes you get a storm that comes through more of a urban part of our area. You don't have as many trees. The rural have tons of trees. So it's very easy to lay down trees in Adair County, and we get a lot of trees down over the course of our storm seasons. What's interesting about Adair County is it jettisons a little further south than all of the rest of the counties in our area as well. So it is a county that we always have to deal with in a different perspective than the rest of our area. But Adair County, 5 more minutes under the tornado warning. So just asking on the warning if they're going to just leave it to 45 or if they can expire it. They'll make the call on that.
Yeah.
They've got, like I said, they've got a lot on their plate, so I'm not.
And have handled it all good and with grace and proper execution throughout the night. You know, I mentioned earlier that sometimes, Mark, some of us on the weather team make that joke about Adair County. It's like it just allows everything to hang on for so much longer, and that is exactly what's happening. Everybody else has been cleared, and Adair County, you know, we keep watching it for an extra hour beyond everyone else's storms. So just happens that way. But look, man, we are here to serve you, keep you protected. It's the rotation is over or just south of Dunville at this point. Yeah, southeast of Dunville. So it looks like all the rotation is out of Adair County, I think. I think the severe weather threat is entirely over for our whole region.
The National Weather Service, they have stated to us that they canceled the tornado warning now for Adair County.
Cool.
So
you still see it on the screen here. I am looking at this one over here. It's out of the system on this side, so yes.
So, and I am going to probably manually remove based on their statement. So I will do that in the background here and remove that out. So what we're going to do here now is we are going to end the tornado warning coverage for the night. Number one, we'll find out here in the next day or so, obviously, what exactly occurred. The Weather Service tomorrow will determine whether they're going to be doing any surveys. We've got reports of damage in a number of locations within our area. Time will tell in the next day or so whether this is straight line winds or tornado damage. I also will show you one thing, because Matthew, you did not get a chance to show this. The 7-day forecast is interesting. Which one of yours do I need to open?
2025 graphic. Actually, if you go to Content Library, we may be able to just open
Most
it up
recently
from
updated, it'll probably show that. Yeah. So, but we just want to show you the 7-day because you didn't get a chance to see this. So can we take graphics full here just for a moment? Matthew.
Oh man, we're after midnight. Let's pull up. Well, it won't change it from morning. All right. Tuesday is Monday.
Because after midnight it automatically changes. Let's just speak then. 70% chance, Matthew, tomorrow. Those are not rain showers.
Snow burst.
And the temperature 52 occurred at midnight. What's it going to be at 5 p.m.?
Probably around freezing.
And Tuesday morning is?
Tuesday morning, it says Wednesday, but Tuesday morning we start off with those clouds and a hard freeze around 20 degrees in Louisville. Teens from much of southern Indiana and parts of Kentucky.
And not a bad weekend here. So we appreciate you guys following with us, whether you're following us on TV, whether you've been watching us on YouTube, on Facebook, or any of the ways that you can watch us. Thank you for trusting us and keeping it here with WDRB as we watch these storms. If anything is necessary, we would break back in, but we're telling you that's not going to be necessary. But you can always keep it right here on WDRB for continuing weather updates. Have a good night.
The following is a paid commercial program. Up next, how would you like to get the